streaming. So it's been a while since we've played.
Been a while.
Yeah. But what happened last time, to catch everyone up, is that, let's see. You folks, we started back at the beginning of the bet with Carl and Cookie. You guys did lizard
Mm-hmm.
races and finished checking out the casino tables up in Mr. Blood's private gambling area of the casino room. You found a secret passage around that leads to one of the side rooms. Not that that would be particularly important for this episode. I just want to remind everyone, in case we end up there, I might just do that if we get there. I'll actually hit main points, and then if we get to certain areas, I'll do little reminders about what's there and what we've discovered. Again, the whole purpose of this week in being on this planet is just to like learn the area, so that when Mr. Blood arrives, you know what you're dealing with when it comes to protecting him. So last episode mostly was kind of centered around Cookie obtaining the cheese from Herc's cheese stop or whatever it was called. And Herc's cheese hut, that's what it was called. And making the bowlerchetta, the bruschetta in the shape of bowler hats, and putting them into the briefcase special
Impeccably fancy
plates that Slippy purchased. Plating sort of
for the
sets,
perfect welcome party
the
for Mr. Blood.
perfect business luncheon in a briefcase. So those are prepared and they're in a fridge somewhere, and they'll be fine when Mr. Blood arrives. We have 3 days until he arrives, and on this day, we have found ourselves. We went back to Herc's Cheese Hut to say thank you and offer him Bolorchetta, and then after the approval of Herc on the use of his cheese, you went to the fighting pits. Um, on the fighting pits, you next to the fighting pits, to recap, when you were leaving initially, Slippy and BBW each noticed a thing. Slippy's thing was that there was a robot, very plain robot, and after some scanning, we found out that it was more of a controlled from a different area robot rather than a sentient robot like BBW. It's just like it's a controlled bot from somewhere else. But something about this robot, maybe it was the make, maybe it was a symbol on it, maybe it was just the way it presents itself, was in Slippy's memory. He remembers this, but he doesn't know how, and something about it is triggering that memory, but he's just having trouble remembering that. And BBW noticed the elevator that led down into the Opulence black markets. You guys have come back after Herc's Cheese Hut to explore this elevator, talk to the elevator operators after tapping on the camera and being led down into the black market. Now, the black market is not actually where you guys want to be. You just didn't know what this elevator was, so you wanted to explore it. So you decided to hang out in the quote unquote food court of the black market so that you could
Blend
not
in.
draw attention. Yeah, blend in for just a moment before you left, because you have 2.5 days left at this point. And all of a sudden, a face peered out from one of the alleyways. This was not the robotic face that Slippy had seen before, but it was a face that he had seen watching him as he has been in and out of the city, peering at him from behind alleys. And Slippy took off from the food court in a chase for this face into the alleyways. BBW, in hot pursuit, watching his ally run away. Carl and Cookie, as to not draw full attention to your party, have stayed behind in the food court. And that is where we find ourselves. I actually have a page on Roll20 for you folks for this thing. Again, we're using just like, we can just draw on the map as we play so that, whatever. We're not using like pieces or anything, nor are we using like boxes as 5-foot squares, just like a concept of where we're sitting. You'll want to zoom out. The plaza is where is where Carl and Cookie sit. You guys are at a table in a general food court area. There are stalls around you selling all sorts of foods and even like fronts of shops. All of the buildings down here in this black market area are a little less well maintained. They are made of metal sheeting and, tarp. They're not like posted and built buildings. They're just sort of like metal sheets leaned up against wooden posts and tarps to make roofs and things like that. It doesn't rain down here, right? You're underground. It's you don't need a roof for that kind of stuff. So it's sort of shanty town. You sort of recognize it from the shanty town that was aboard the Delta. And looking at our map, BBW and Slippy, you two have chased this face you didn't quite recognize back into the alleys. As I had explained, it was a maze like of alleyway structure that you have chased them through and found yourselves back in this alley. As you have come back into the alley and come around the last corner, you have seen two humanoid shapes come out from the shadows behind you, undescript as to the moment, and in front of you the last humanoid you were chasing has dropped down from the roof of one of these shanty buildings and confronted you. He had said something along the lines of, "It's been a while since we found, or it's pretty rare to come across people who work for someone as wealthy as Mr. Blood. Now you're going to give us everything you have," or something like that, because you've been pretty boisterous about who you work for. However, to place us in the exact moment, he said that as he was atop one of these shanty buildings and jumped down, drawing a blade from his coat or whatever. And his two boys are behind Slippy and BBW. But in the air, Slippy has, because he can't be surprised, drawn his weapon and fired at this. We're going to call him a robber in the alley, alley robber. And so that is where we're going to start, is with Slippy's volley roll right off the bat on this alley robber.
Damn straight. Get him.
Ooh, boxcars, baby! Let's go! Slippy is incredible at this. All right, so on a 10 plus, I have a clear shot. I deal damage. My damage is a D8, I believe.
Okay.
Yes. All right. That is 6 damage,
Okay.
and I think that's it. I just do that. I deal 6 damage to the boy.
I think there's a bonus on volley for you have to target a location on their body, which to me, the way that this rolled seems sort of
No,
like,
that's called shot.
oh, that's called shot.
That's my
That's
specialty
your
that I get to add
specialty.
on to volley for
Okay.
being a soldier.
You're right. You're right. You're right.
I just shoot his ass.
Okay. Oh, but you don't expose yourself to danger or whatever. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Sweet. Sweet.
I
Sweet.
shoot his ass, and I do it perfectly.
You perfectly
And I
shoot his
was
ass.
surprised.
As this robber drops into the alley, you shoot them. Your plasma bullet hits a when it collides with this person, you see a shimmer across their body as if they have like this field kind of directly around their limbs, and then you see that light kind of coalesce to a little point on their belt. They like flinch as they get hit, but it doesn't like shoot through them or blast them. In fact, you see like this little force field resonance. Um,
Um, I have an energy shield. Is that an energy shield? I assume I would recognize the thing if it's the same thing I'm using.
you one of these two might also have an energy shield if you want to check your stuff. You, Carl, are with Cookie at the table in the plaza. You two
Oh.
did
Yeah,
not follow
also
Chase
I
because
forgot
you
they
didn't
weren't
want to.
inside of us. I knew we were
Right.
at the table, but
Yeah. No,
also
they ran down
retcon
a
thing
maze
just
like of
because
alleys.
while he was because he was spoke to me from the rooftop before he jumped down, right?
Yeah.
While he was speaking, I definitely turned on my headset mic, so the other two folks that are back at the food court, they heard me blast his ass.
Okay. So I'm gonna pull to anyone that wants. BBW, you're in this situation. You've just seen Slippy blast his ass. He's still standing. You saw the energy shield go off. Carl and Cookie, all of a sudden your comms kind of, well, not Cookies, because Cookies is taped as a reminder. Cookies is taped to the bottom of a table in the gambling room of the Grand Casino for Mr. Bloods, because you wanted to listen into that room. So Cookies is taped there. However, that's could be important for any point in the conversation. Carl's starts triggering, going off, and you hear this bullet blast against the wall, and or blast, blast off. You hear a little cutting in and out on the edge of being picked up on the microphone, but you definitely hear this sort of explosive pew go off, and you know that your allies are in combat of some kind, and you
Why is
saw
he
them run
always
off
getting himself in trouble?
into the alleys. So either BBW or one of the two at the table have both heard this.
Uh, that energy shield. It was deployed from the guy who like just pinned us, right?
Yeah, yeah. It deployed from so at the if we're looking at our map at the very end of this alley, the one that has jumped down from the roof and basically confronted you folks here has had that energy shield pinged off. Still took some damage from Slippy, but then behind you also have two humanoid shadowy figures. It's all very dark back here. We don't have a ton of description on these folks yet.
I see. Okay. This dude, with the energy shield. I'm gonna use my command of robots to make the shield go off, like turn off.
Hmm.
So go
Okay.
ahead, roll for that. I said no shield.
I said no shield.
Bippity boppity, your shield is my property.
That's a 9.
What is the 7 to 9 on command of
7.
robots?
I can parley with the machine by offering it data, power, or proper usage, no matter what level of intelligence. So,
Interesting. Okay.
um,
This you get a little ping back. You try to trigger, we're going to say there's like a little Wi-Fi signal. That makes sense for a lot of these
huh,
machines. Some sort of Bluetooth Wi-Fi signal that connects a lot of these machines when they're not on their specific user. Um you get a little ping back that says
Why should I?
why
what?
should I? It is a request from the
Machine spirit.
I'm losing the track of my words. The energy shield for proper usage is all it is. It wants to be used properly. If you can promise that you
Hmm,
will use it properly in the future, it will shut down now.
is it probably the future? Hmm. Well, I can certainly make it a part of me. That sounds like fun.
Okay.
So I'm gonna say yeah. What's my the roll parlay? Let's see.
No, that's it. You can parlay with the robot. You've offered it. Basically, you have basically conferred that you will use it properly in the future. Getting a sense that this
Sure.
guy doesn't. This guy kind of abuses his energy shield, and as a robot,
Mm,
it's not happy about that. So, hearing your promise, you actually see it spark and fizzle out, and then he looks down at it and taps it a few times, and then he looks a little worried, facing the two of you.
Oh.
Carl and Cookie, you've heard this the sounds of combat begin over the microphone. What do you do?
I mean, it sounds like we should probably head for the alley. That seems he seems like he might need a little help.
These people apparently know us though. Not sure how many more there are besides these three. I'm a little spooked.
Uh, are the if they were able to get up to the rooftops, are there any easily accessible ladders or stairways that are in view? Because that's how I would like to start approaching the alleyways, get a vantage point.
I like that. I think looking around you see Carl sees that there are while there's no like ladders leading up because what we're dealing with again is like hastily built buildings,
Shantytown.
shantytown style things.
Yeah.
What you do see is that the rooftops are rather easily
Inclines.
accessible that you can just sort of there's plenty of rooftops all along the edge of this plaza that you're in that you could climb some boxes up and get onto the more
Mhm.
metallic roofs.
Carl bout of parkour. Okay.
Peep out of parkour.
Cookie, you
So
Ugh.
see
Carl's gonna turn to Cookie and say, "I'm going up. You're welcome to also go up,
You
or
got wings,
not."
right?
And start scaling the nearest building.
Just a quick clarification. Where is this happening? Is this combat happening down an elevator?
So you
We're
folks,
already at the bottom, I believe.
I
Yeah.
did not come with you guys. I don't believe.
you,
Did I? Did I follow you guys into the elevator?
everyone came to the black market,
And then
And
we
then
stopped off at the
realized-
food court.
yeah, and then decided that we didn't want. We all came to the black market because we weren't sure what this alley held, and so we wanted the whole team to be here. And when it was an elevator, you guys were in front of people and said like, "Well, we gotta go down now," and went down. Ended up in the food court, and your goal was to go to the food court, to not draw attention to yourself, and then leave. And then Slippy saw this dude run into an alley and recognized him, and so chased him. BBW followed. You and Carl didn't, because you didn't want to draw more attention. And now, over the headsets, you've heard combat occurring. And Carl has suggested to take off to the roofs to look for this combat.
I don't think I'm gonna follow Carl to the roof, solely because I'm of no use at a distance, especially in combat. That's just not who I am. I think I'm going to go to the edge, like the entrance of the alley, like around the corner, and sort of like give it a peek, have my walk ready. Maybe I'm like ready to brain someone as they come running out. Like that's sort of where I'm at. Is I think I'm gonna try and close this avenue of escape. I don't really know what's going on, so that seems like the right idea for. Like I'm only useful in melee in combat and not terribly useful there. So
I'm ready to feed someone a nice meal, and then in 4 to 5 business days they'll be dead.
I'll say that you run up to the edge to begin preparing, but you know that they're not right here on the edge of these alleys. There was quite a bit of time in between the time in which they left on this chase and the time in which you heard the battle beginning over the headset. So you know the area, and in fact even the alley they left into, but you don't know where in the system of alleys they have found themselves as this combat begins. But you're looking to be on the ground, and Carl is looking to be on the rooftops. And we can say that you two are trying to keep up with one another because that just helps follow the flow of action, I think, the best here. So the two of you, I think you're working together. One of you give me I guess if you want more information on where to find them, a discern realities, and the other can give an assist because you guys are working together in this to find them in the alleyways. One from the ground, one from the sky.
I don't know how we would assist each other.
What?
I don't know how we would assist each other.
I mean,
Neither do I.
well,
Do we just want to do separate discern reality checks then, and just sort of see how it goes? And if we run into trouble, we run into trouble on our own.
my thought opposed to
You're cutting out.
The possibility of 6 questions, and then it's just getting kind of locked into the mechanics of using these roles since you two are working together. I mean, it would make sense that mostly it would make sense to me in this situation that Carl's using discern realities because he's looking from above, and Cookie is assisting by looking for clues in the alleys about which way they went. Because that's kind of what Slippy was doing as well, is kind of following footprints, following, you know, things like this. You guys don't have the move he used, so I'm calling it an assist role in this case, but to me, it makes most sense.
I think my pushback on your pushback, though, is I don't have comms. I don't think I can't. I literally cannot be of assistance here. I can
Well,
definitely take a peek, but
Given that it's a shanty town, I assume we're still within talking distance even if I'm on a roof. It's like a maybe 10-foot roof.
That's what I
It's a
thought.
shack.
Sticking
Alright,
together.
alright. Okay, well then I'll happily
Only
roll the
consider this-
assist.
That was my first thought
Then
at
2 to
first
2.
too, but then when I was picturing it, I'm like, oh yeah, that's nope. I'm not gonna be on top of a skyscraper.
Even if you were an alley or so apart, a little shout I think would make it to one another. And then it
Okay,
still
so
gives the opportunity to,
discern.
like, if because if Gabe either fails the discern, if you both wanted to do discern, or fails the assist, then it's still the same sort of opening him up to danger. And same thing with Carl, whoever wants to do whichever.
I have
Fair.
rolled to help, but even with my bonus, I got a 5. So
Mark that experience.
I sure do. I've got that experience. I am 2 away from level 4, baby.
Fuck yeah. We're going power level at the end of this mission.
Honestly.
Carl, your discern realities
Discerning-
with no bonus from Gabe.
Oh yeah, that's a 3. Give me that level up.
Okay.
Ooh.
I can confirm that he went down this alley.
This is an alley for sure.
It kind of splits off after that.
Okay. Well, let's see. I think the two of you were able to keep up. I mean, you're able to keep up with one another no matter what, because Carl could just be on the roof above Cookie and not lose track of Cookie. That feels easy to me. The two of you were able to keep together in trying to follow some clues. There's a lot going on back here in the alleys. There's buildings back here that open up back here and solely exist back in this network of alleys. It seems as if it's an unorganized street system. You couldn't fit a cart or anything like that with wheels back here, but the sort of community just exists back in these alleys. And you folks find yourselves back in a corner of the alleys. You haven't been able to, beyond the sounds you hear over your headset, find your... You haven't been able to find your allies. You haven't been able to find notes of your allies, sounds of your allies, the fighting in the overworld, right? You can kind of hear that over the headset still. Where you found yourselves, I'm putting a little circle on this map, bigger red circle, is down in a dead-end, wider alley. It's interesting down here because there is a line of folks outside of a... no, let me think. No. Here's what happens. Ignore that circle. I'm gonna Control Z. Undo. It's gone. You two are looking around the alleys. You find yourselves actually in the same area that circle was. I'm gonna put it back. LOL. You're back in this alley. Carl's up on the roof. Cookie is down the bottom. You're looking for clues down here. You've followed the clues into this general area, but you've lost sight of them a little bit. And up on this roof, you hear Carl behind you. You're right about there, I'd say. And Cookie, you're down there looking around for clues. Carl, behind you, you hear a sound of the plasma startup of one of these plasma knives. This little, we're gonna use almost the lightsaber sounds for the conceptual thought. Exactly, the little boing of a plasma startup behind you. There's a little light shining, and you turn around and you see. I don't know that you've seen any of them so far, but we're going to put it as a different, separate, but similar alley robber behind you, and they say, "I've
Distinct
never
alley
seen you
robber.
in these parts. Why don't you hand over your wallet and get off my roof?" And
If you'd like
Cookie,
to see anybody in these parts, then you best turn around and walk away.
and Cookie, you hear the boing as well from down there and see the little light source from behind Carl, and know that there's something going up on that roof. Back in this alley, the two of you, the three of them on all sides of you, the energy shield has shut down on this one alley robber. That doesn't seem to stop them, though. They pull out a pistol. The two behind you begin to close in. The larger of the two, now that they're in close, you see that the larger of the two is an alien, but he's large and bulky. He's made out of stone and rock. It seems to be sort of like like a rock kind of construct humanoid being, and it tries to bring a net down on top of the two of you. What do the two of you do? It throws a net at you.
I am going to try and defy that danger by nimbly somersaulting underneath the net. And at the same time igniting my plasma blade.
Boing.
That is a 10 plus 2 dexterity with a 12.
And BBW?
I'm also going to try to defy danger by getting out of the way,
Okay.
crawling my way to the wall. 10.
10.
Solid 10.
Yeah, the both of you roll out of danger quickly. The net just cascades upon the ground, and the two of you find yourselves a little split up. I would say BBW closer to the singled out individual, and Carl closer to the group of two. Or sorry, Slippy closer to the group of two.
Yeah, that's me right over there.
And the group of two begins to attempt to surround Slippy. What do you do, Slippy?
I think I'm going to attempt to parlay with these gentlemen. I think I'm just gonna say, hey, now that was a warning shot. I knew you had a plasma shield, you know. And I clearly wasn't surprised to see you folks here. You know, we were just looking around, making sure everything was on the up and up, and clearly everything's good here. You guys are taking great care of your land and territory. Well done. We'll just be on our way if that's okay. I'm saying with my weapons pointed at these two gentlemen that are circling me.
Like you do.
All right, so plus charisma. Oh my god. Okay, so plus charisma, that is a 13.
Nice.
The gentleman, I won't even say that. The folks really surrounding you, the two aliens kind of closing in on either side of you, stop closing in with the guns pointed at their chests. They have, you can see that they have some I can't remember the word I'm trying to use. Just like piecemeal, I guess, is the piecemeal pistols on their hips. They've got like these plasma daggers in their hand, and they look at the guns pointed at their chests and begin to back down a little bit. They're not imposing in upon you anymore. And even the gentleman with the energy shield in the back closer to BBW lowers his knife a little bit. And he says to the two of you, well, we're just looking for a little bit of come up. If you want to give us everything you got. Let me think about this. Hold on. You netted a, I don't
shoot
think
him.
that's, you gotta
Shoot him in the
I
head.
shoot him.
I'll give you all my bullets, one by one. Bang, 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 bang.
That's your intimidate roll. You want everything I got? All I got is a full clip, motherfucker.
Yeah, I think the two closing in on you, they look at each other and then they look towards their boss in the back of the alley. They seem swayed. He does not. I think he continues up his press. He says, I know that people who have the opportunity to work for someone like Mr. Blood must have quite a bit of credit on them. If you want to leave us,
Haven't gotten paid yet.
if you want to leave us anything of value, we can let you be on your way.
Can I give you a certified IOU for after we get paid from Mr. Blood? We can go out drinking together, buddy.
And he slowly draws his pistol from its holster.
I shoot him. No, I don't shoot him.
BBW, what do you do in all this situation?
While he's trying to parlay, I'm gonna use my little, what's it called? My little
Buster?
my other pistol, no, my tractor beam. I'm gonna pull the guy's.
It makes a resurgence. It's back.
It's back.
And
I'm gonna-
yes,
I'm gonna-
as two reminders, even if it wasn't just said, it my brain registered as it. BBW and Carl, you both have a bolster from the station for this adventure at some point. That just is a +1 to 1 roll. Whenever you want to use it, it's considered advantage for this game. And also, your whole team is looking for the Pharaoh's Eye as a secondary side bonus. So if you know, if that comes across it. The last time, the only reason I am like itching to remind you guys of that is because the last time, I think the moment that the thing did come up, that episode, I had not reminded you guys of it. And so I don't think any of you as players were like cognizant that you were still looking for this thing when it came up. And so you didn't like register it as a thing you were looking for.
This could be the first time I've ever heard the words Pharaoh's Eye, for all I
No
know.
way. No
No,
way.
I remember it.
You said that, and my brain was like, smile and nod, I guess.
No way. I've said it every time, but also like I understand. It's just there's so many things to remember. In case you come across it, there was a distorted voice that requested the Pharaoh's Eye from you.
Give me the Pharaoh's Eye.
Not that that's here. I just to remind you. Anyway, BBW, you want to tractor beam? Are you tractor beaming? What are you tractor beaming?
I want to steal this guy's gun.
Okay, that tracks. Operate machines, your own machines this time.
I also want you to steal his gun.
Which is still roll plus intelligence.
Cool.
Instead of shoes, it's gun for. Nope.
Not so bad. I got an 8. 9, actually. It's a 9 total.
The operation
Nice.
runs, but one of the following happens. The 3 options are: afterwards, the machine is drained of power, cannot run this operation until you do technical prep work. The operation scrambles all of your machines, taking -1 to operate machines until you do technical prep work, or you draw unwelcome attention. I think on this one, you do it quick. He goes to pull his, he says, you're going to leave us something valuable. And he goes to pull his pistol from his belt, and you quickly zap up your tractor beam and fire it off, and it hits his pistol and rips it out of his hands. But you feel, because you didn't give it the opportunity to, I don't know, warm up, that it zaps the rest of your machines and a lot of your operating systems. You have a -1 to operate machines. So that's just like on any of your spells, tractor beams.
Okay.
Anything like that, you have a -1 to.
Can I still make toast?
Yeah, you can yes, you can absolutely still make toast, but you do rip his gun out of
Amazing.
his hand, and now with no gun in his hand, he begins to shake a little bit, and the two behind you two continue
How
to
about
look
we
to
leave
him
you
for
your
advice.
gun? Is that valuable to you?
Carl and Cookie, we shift over to you. Carl, you're on the rooftop. A robber has just drawn their knife and attempted to thieve you. Cookie, you recognize this from the ground. What do you do? The two of you.
Arl has a bit of a plan. Assuming that, yes, hack and slash got me a 9. So what I'm going to try to do with okay, I can't do exactly what I wanted to do. I'm going to stab him in the foot.
Okay.
If I had rolled a 10, my goal was, because that lets me use my electric prod, I wanted to stab him in the foot and activate it so when he like bends over because he got hurt, he hits the prod.
That would be good. That would be good. But you just hack and slash him in the foot. What's your damage?
It's a D10. And which fucking one of these is that? Woo! 2 damage. Appropriate. I hit his pinky toe, I guess.
Yeah, you smash.
Should aim for something bigger.
You smash the foot. He starts hopping up and down. He's like, I just wanted some stuff from you.
Yeah, well, I don't want to give you my stuff, asshole.
Obviously, you don't want to give him your stuff. I didn't really have an answer for that. He's jumping up and down. And I think with that, he's going to attempt to attack Carl with his energy blade.
Wait. Hack and slash is plus strength. I didn't add anything. It is a 10, so I do get to shock him.
Oh, okay,
Ooh,
okay.
fuck
So
yeah.
then, I mean, I'll
Sorry.
send that off exactly as you hoped. You bash him in the foot, and he bends down, like, sort of. Just losing the word. He just bends down out of habit. I don't know whatever the word is. Reflex. That's the word. Bends down out of reflex to grab his foot and slams his head right into your electric prod. What's the electric prod's extra damage?
It specifically, I I can stun the enemy instead of causing damage, which is my
Oh,
goal.
okay.
Because what Carl wanted to do with this move, and now gets to, I'm very happy, is Carl wanted to stun him and then just push him right off the edge. Because he's assuming that a scream will both take care of this guy and potentially distract the ones wherever they are that are attacking our friends.
Yeah, yeah. I'll even say that you were able to kind of drag him to the edge and then kind of push him off a little bit into that larger circle I've placed on the map just to keep it into my brain in terms of the flow of these buildings back here. But you've done so. You've stunned him and pushed him off the edge. He ends up in a heap right at your feet, Cookie. Carl is, you know, flexing up as after
Fresh meat.
having shoved this body off of the building. Do you do anything to this person or look further into our missing BBW and Slippy situation?
Sorry, I missed the question. What was the question?
It was a question for me.
Oh, okay, great.
But before this development, I was going to try and sort of ascertain what's going on with BBW and Slippy, but it seems like I have a more pressing issue directly at my feet. How conscious is this pressing issue? Is he okay?
Stunned and dropped off a roof.
Mute for me.
Mute for me.
He is. He is. I mean, I think exactly as Carl said, he's stunned and dropped off a roof. He's in a kind of a pile, right around your feet, kind of groaning because he's just been thrown right off a roof and shocked.
I think I'm just gonna hit him real hard with my walk then. I think I'm just gonna, he's stunned, so I just want to put him out. I don't want him stunned. I want him unconscious. I don't want him a part of this fight any longer.
I don't need to be robbed in a separate form or fashion. Give me a hack and slash.
Soup's on.
That is a 10. A 10 for hack and slash.
We found where all the good rolls
Damage?
went. It went to the session.
I don't know if I have a damage modifier for my. Oh, nope, I do.
Yeah, it's like your character is.
Okay.
Your character has D.
That's a 7.
Bonk him real good. After having fallen off a roof, being stabbed in the foot, shocked in the face, and smashed with a pan, I think that this bandit does not get up. BBW and Slippy, I will say that you do hear a brief in the background. But I don't know that with the sounds of what's going on in here and not knowing what's going on with your allies that you recognize like what that's from. But I'll say that the sound does reach you folks. But the two of you, it seems as if you're beginning to dissuade these bandits from attempting to steal from you. They are still sort of pressing you in this alley, but they seem a little bit more hesitant. What do the two of you want to do to press the situation?
So
I'm gonna give you the gun, Slippy.
you're gonna just give me a second gun. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm gonna catch the gun and put my knife away. Then I'm gonna have 2 guns.
I love it.
And then I'm gonna say, now listen here. I understand I'm outnumbered currently, but I've got friends that are on their way. Now we can either end this amicably, or we can change the odds and we'll have a fun fight. Are you ready for that? And then Slippy's gonna do another parlay, I think.
That fits.
That's a 7. They will do what they ask, but they need some concrete assurance of my promise right now.
or I'll steal your stuff.
Over Carl Cookie, you hear this. You actually hear this conversation over your headsets. I think that Slippy's has been open the whole time, right?
Yep.
And you hear this bandit say, "Yeah, right. People always say they got backup on the way."
I'd like to. How like? I assume these are like walkie-talkies, right?
Yeah, loud enough. Exactly. I would say exactly
Yeah,
like a walkie.
you
He
can
said
kinda
headset
hear 'em.
mic, but I
So
think it's like a walkie-talkie, right?
I'd love to
It's
call
a
back through and say, yeah. So we have your location surrounded now. When do you want us to When do you want us to open fire?
hold.
Yes, sir.
Oh.
Pause.
Hey, boys. Hmm. Why don't why don't we get out of here? This is seeming like it's a little bit more trouble than it was worth. The other two are nodding heavily in the corner. As you've gotten a little bit more focus on them. They're both full rock humanoids. One's a little bit more slighter than the other, and the leader is a dingy looking human, spindly arms and legs, and the two rock folk are nodding, and the spindly human is says, "Yeah, okay, well, we'll leave you this time, but we got our eyes on you. If we
Well,
find
yeah,
you out and
were looking
alone,
at me this whole time.
we'll get you." And they're starting to back off into the alleys.
Can I use my
Good
tractor beam one more
afternoon.
time for that shield?
They turn. I'm sorry.
Can I use my tractor beam one more time for the shield?
-1.
I want to snatch that.
You can. You can use your tractor beam for the shield.
I'm gonna try to go for it.
You have a -1 to operate machines.
Until it, so it's a 7.
That's a 7. I think with a
Yeah,
secondary
so
moderate success, your tractor beam does go
uh-huh.
off, but you can feel it fizzle out. So what happens is your tractor
Shit.
beam fires off again, and it's as they're walking away.
Uh,
Hmm. Yeah, I'll actually give it. So you can't use your tractor beam again. So you fire off your tractor beam and it hits his shield as he goes to turn away. What you notice though is he doesn't notice this. Your tractor beam fizzles out as it drops, as it basically doesn't have enough power to pull it all the way to you, but it knocks it off his belt, and he doesn't notice it as he continues to walk away. And the reason it doesn't have the power to pull to you is you feel it like fizzle the moment that it touches his thing, and then it just shorts out. So your tractor beam is useless
yikes.
to you until you do technical prep work, which I'll say is like the end of a day probably.
Okay.
Hold on. Let's see what technical prep work is. Uninterrupted time, working on your machines. But you got to do this in your lab. Do you have... I guess you
In a lab
actually
somewhere around we could
don't. You
rent.
can do your technical prep work at the end of each of these
Yeah.
days. You don't have a mobile workshop, I think, yet, of any kind. I don't think you chose to put that on your ship or anything like that. Oh, no, you did. You chose a mobile workshop, and it is on your ship. So if you ever want to do workshop stuff, you could do that on your ship. I do remember you choosing
Yeah.
that. So
Alright.
yes, so technically, as far as your machines go, your tractor beam is shorted out, and until you spend some time working on that, it is not of use. And the rest of your machines have -1 because they've all felt this sort of jolt. But his energy shield has dropped to the ground, and he did not notice as they trek off back into the alleys. The two of you left in this alley. Carl and Cookie, I think that with over the headsets, you know that your allies are more out of danger. And it doesn't take long. Do the two of you want to do anything here before it doesn't take long for you two to meet up? Is there anything with this
No.
dude or
No.
in this alley?
We're
Okay.
good.
I have a new shitty gun.
And I have a new friend.
I want to search the unconscious man.
Okay. I don't think that unless you desperately want to roll for this, that there's really a roll for this because he's an unconscious dude. You just search through him. It's not like a investigation check in D&D, right? He's just an unconscious dude you're searching. You find a hunk of credit that is 7 credits, and a key, an old rusty key, and his energy blade that he had. Kind of, he's in a heap on top of. If you want like another energy dagger. Perfect. You have a. Okay. Yeah, if you find his hut, you know. Well, if you find the hut that it goes to, you have a key. And 7 extra credits. And if anyone wants the energy dagger, you can steal that from him too.
Look around this place. They probably reuse the same locks, honestly.
I have the key to everything.
Everything.
Yeah, I'm just gonna try that key on every lock I run into on this planet.
Every key is a skeleton key if you try.
Yeah. It doesn't take long for you folks to meet up down here after that. And Cookie, do you want to spend some time looking for what this key goes to? Cookie?
I do not want to do that. That sounds like a lot of time to make that happen. If I just if I have some downtime, maybe I'll try some doors with it. But otherwise, it's just sort of a neat trophy that I've now acquired.
The key to this man's house. The 4 of you meet up and having no real business to attend to down here in the black markets, and having initially wanted to go up anyway. Is it fair to say that you leave the black markets? I'm going to say yes. Back up the elevators and out into the alleyway next to the fighting pits. You notice the sun is, and it's about evening time after your day having been spent at the markets and now down in the black markets. What do you folks want to do with the rest of this day, or would you like to go rest up? It is approaching evening time. You have the rest of today, and he's supposed to arrive at the end of 2 days from now. So basically
Was
2
there
full
something
days
else?
until he's arriving.
Is there something else you want to explore? I don't remember if we said that or
As
not,
far as the city
because-
goes, and now that we're not back in the alleys and don't need, I didn't know if we would want that at any point or if it would come up. It doesn't seem like it was important, but we do have our city of opulence. As far as our city of opulences goes, we have explored the fighting pits, we have explored the grand casino and the market in terms of like understanding the area in case Mr. Blood is in there. You have not checked out the racetrack, and on top of that, his box in the racetrack, the heist tower or pleasure tower, none of which were on his necessary list of things that he normally attends. You do know, of course, that he is going to the racetrack, but the other 2 are not things that he attends using what we're the black cars from the Peacock, but it doesn't necessarily mean that he doesn't go to them.
We haven't explored the Amogus.
True.
Yeah, whoever
Lots
drew
of-
the
The
Among
pleasure
Us,
tower is sus.
whoever drew the Among Us on our map, we haven't explored the Among Us picture either.
I don't know who did it, but I keep assuming it's Dante.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I believe I wrote sus.
Okay.
Teamwork.
Yes.
So we have
Teamwork.
Sus Tower, Pleasure Tower, and Heist Tower.
I want to go to the racetrack tomorrow.
Yeah, that seems like a good idea.
Yeah, we're running
Right.
out of time to go places that he's specifically going to go.
True.
So maybe rest up for the night, do some for BBW, I would imagine technical prep work, and then
Absolutely.
come back at it with 2 days remaining. Yeah. Having explored the city yet another day, you return to the Peacock and return to your rooms as the nightlife is beginning to sort of pop off. Lucy is back in Cookie's room, having watched over the bruschetta all day. And
Is it good?
yes, it's incredible. She fake wipes sweat from her brow. I was gonna say as you did. And joins Slippy back in her. She has a drawer, I think, in Slippy's room that he has all the beds from the sheets
That's
in.
right.
Yep. and join Slippy back in Slippy's room as you folks rest up for the night. BBW, all of those negative effects are null and void. Your machines are good. Your tractor beam works again. And you also, I imagine, while we didn't say I pick up the shield, you obviously picked up this energy shield. Do you have BBW? What's your let's check your inventory. You already have an energy shield, but you don't have a relationship with this energy shield, I guess. You have a
No,
relationship with this new energy shield.
Hey,
I do. We're
do you do
bonding.
hand-me-downs, BBW?
Do I
I
do
see that you're no
hand-me-downs?
longer dating your previous energy shield.
Be my guest. I was going to replace it anyway.
Great. I'm not looking to start a relationship, but I will be happy to have an energy shield.
I will say that an energy
Suit
shield,
yourself.
while you can put it into your gear, just not necessarily your carried gear, as you'll have to switch something out because your current load is 8 of 9 and energy shield weighs 2 pounds. So you'll have
I
to
do.
drop something. And as another reminder for everyone, you all have adventuring gear, which is similar to Slippy's move that is find cool shit, tricks of the trade, except you can find less cool shit. So anyone can kind of. There was a great example where Slippy wanted a lockpick and he was like, "Is it in my adventuring gear?" The answer should have been yes, but I just kind of ignored it because I didn't understand what he was asking at that time. But now I understand what he was asking, and it was yes, you have a lockpick, which is my bad. But just so you know, looking at your stuff, so if you can find a way, something to drop on your stuff for that,
I throw the hard light
I just
sword
throw it on the
on the
ground.
ground.
Slippy drops his
I'll
personal.
definitely drop. I'll drop my regular shield, and I want the other shield instead.
Perfect, the one you
The
have a
special
relationship with
shield.
that's asked you
Yeah,
to use it
special energy
properly.
shield.
Yeah, we'll keep
Yeah.
that in mind. If there's ever anything that comes up story-wise that's about like you and your relationship with your energy shield, we can do that. Slippy, that
Hey,
gives you
BBW,
+1 to armor too, by the way.
what kind of shield is this?
What kind of shield? It's a energy shield, as you
Well,
can see.
but I meant like personality wise.
That's really in the eye of the beholder. I noticed that it's very submissive. It wants to be used properly. So
This one too, huh? Interesting. I
It's
prefer an assertive
submissive.
shield, but you know, beggars can't be choosers. Anyway, hello shield, welcome to my care.
It bleeps up and you feel the shield kind of rest over your body, I guess.
Okay.
it's like a cat. It says it's like it means it loves you.
Oh. Well, again,
technical
I'm not looking for a relationship, but I appreciate that, Mr. Shield.
technical prep work aside, you folks rest up and wake up the following day. 2 days, well, 2 days remain. 1 night remains. He'll arrive on the second night. How would you like to spend this last full 24 hours, basically, before blood arrives?
Racetrack?
Racetrack.
Racetrack.
Gotta go fast.
Gotta go fast. All right. Is there
Is
any
there
reason
any
that
reason that I'd like to go back to the marketplace? I'd like to go back to the weapons dealer that showed us all the neat shit with the animatronic robot.
Okay. The crew meets out in front of the Peacock and splits up. BBW, Slippy, Carl heading towards the racetrack. Check out Blood's box there and the overall concept of the racetrack. Give me just a moment. Okay. Yes. We'll start there. The three of you pull up to a grand arena. Imagine a incredibly opulently built Olympic-sized arena. There are smaller racetracks inside the walls of this arena that are not the main racetrack for this main event you folks will be attending. It's a huge thing. Not just horse races, but the middle is used for all sorts of events. There's like sporting events, there's competitions, just all sorts of stuff. This is their big show competition arena. And as you folks roll in through the perfectly carved marble entrance, You are fronted with an attendant who stumbles up. Stumble's not the right word. Who
Hey.
Falls
I
out of the sky.
don't know why I'm having so much trouble coming up with specific words tonight. What's the word like what you would use for like the way the penguin walks? They like walk side to side.
Waddle.
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 That's the
They
word.
waddle.
He waddles up in that kind of same fashion side to side and says, "And what can I help you with, gentlemen, with today? What can I help you folks with today?"
Hello, nice voice, by the way.
Love
We
his
are
voice.
representatives for Mr. Blood, and we're here to check out his box, his little booth. Got to make sure that everything's on the up and up. You
Brings up
understand?
a little electronic wrist pad, and his little flipper slides through the options and through a few screens and says, "I do see that Mr. Blood has several bodyguards on with his event. If you'll show me your IDs," and he scans all your IDs and says, "All right this way," and he shows you through the majority of the arena and up to a beautiful gold and dark oak trimmed box. Everything in here is like full pieces of wood, hand carved. It's like unnecessarily opulent and big. And it overlooks directly in the center of where the race would begin, like down and into the track. You're like right on the starting line is Mr. Blood's box. And you folks have kind of free reign. He's this alien is standing by the door and allowing you to check out the box.
Excuse me. What are the concessions that are planned on being provided here for Mr. Blood?
Mr. Blood generally has the best package we can afford. We'll be cooking here in house, and he points you over to a little kitchen, and there are several like burners, and it looks like a field kitchen for like I mean, just like any of these kinds of big events, right? It's like they have just what you would generally see under a tent. They have the stove, small fridge, things like that. Same kind of setup that was in the kitchen in any of his other booths. They'll be cooking right
And
here live.
there's not going to be any microphones hidden inside the hot dogs, will there be?
Why would there? No,
Never mind.
I don't think that
Never
there
mind.
would
That's
be.
that's a throwback to a previous time.
Okay,
Anyway,
I could
Slippy
check
is
them
going
all by
to.
hand if you would like.
I usually check them by mouth, but that's okay. We don't need to worry about that
Okay.
today, I don't think. And Slippy is going to. I have a bad feeling about this, so I'm going to survey a potentially dangerous area. That is an 11 total. So I get to just ask all three. Is there a trap here? If so, what activates it?
No,
All right.
no.
There's no. I don't believe there's any traps here, folks. So I think we're doing all right there. But let me take a closer look and see if there's anything hidden around. Anything not trap related.
Nothing. Okay, so the things that you find that there's two cameras in here that you come across, Slippy. One is posted up in the corner of the room, a very generic security camera. The moment you walk in the room, you probably see it being the like this is kind of what you look for in these rooms. However, also looking around, you find another tiny little camera that's been installed in a plant that's on the opposite side of the room, also watching out over the room.
Mm. Unless somebody else wants to do something in the meantime, Slippy can then just talk to him about this camera.
Yeah, BBW Carl, do you have anything you want to approach in this room?
Carl whips out his stud finder.
Ha!
Still
Beep,
in the
beep, beep,
pocket.
beep. Got it. Still works.
Going over every wall. Inch by.
Carl, let's make that discern realities for you. Because I know Slippy's stuff
Sounds
is always
good.
like trap search. Your stuff is more like secret
That's
passage
4.
search.
Give me
Stud
that
hunt.
fucking experience.
Carl, you're stud finding over this room. I think what occurs actually, not that it would be important
Out of
anymore,
batteries.
is that the battery, as you're going, you're about halfway through the room and you hear the pew, pew, pew. And there's just no charging port anywhere on this thing. It's a, it's a complimentary stud finder that they give out at every hotel, obviously.
Does BBW have a charging port?
Yeah, I was gonna say I'll hand it to BBW and be like, "Do you have any use for this? I
Oh
can
my
no longer use
God.
it, but I know sometimes you like machines."
Uh,
Do
I
you
don't know
want
what that
this? Is this
is.
good for you?
It tells you it can see through walls a little bit and tell you what's behind them,
Ooh, how exciting!
right?
I'm gonna take it. Why not?
Why not? Why not indeed? You have a sort of piece of defunct tech. It is a defunct stead finder at
Take
this
that out of
moment. You'll have to
Maybe.
re-battery it. Or for you, you could just turn it into one of your machines, and then I would say it has perpetual battery. But
Yeah, that's what
you,
I figured he'd be able to do with it. That's why I passed it to
BBW
him.
has perpetual
Makes sense.
battery.
no, I like that. I like that. No, I mean, I guess not in canon, but in
It's
game.
some like self-sustaining battery, kind of like a car. It charges its battery while it's running.
Yeah. It's kind of solar powered, maybe, but I don't know if I want to give him the power of solar powered. I don't know. For now. But you have this defunct piece of wall tech, and the three of you are BBW. Is there anything you want to do in this room before we pop over to Cookie in the market?
All good.
Okay. Yeah, the three of you checking out the horse races, just checking out this box. You, like I said, you find the extra camera, but for now, that's about it. Cookie, you are traveling back into the markets. You know where this hut is. Out front is very similar to the way that you found it the first time. There is the bird-like animatronic robot who is foraging outside, and it is just, you see the weapons kind of on their stuff, and you approach.
Okay, quick sort of is not retcon, but just like backstory. Before Cookie set out on this day, she was poking through her quarters, looking at her ingredients, and just sort of going through cupboards and standard stuff, and she found something. She found the fist-sized chunk of Arinia from Mission 1
Yeah.
that she never did anything with. She just was given for her mushroom tarts that she probably shouldn't have been given, but she has it. And we never did anything with it. And so she wants to. This seems like a great spot to get that valued, bare minimum. So she is back at the one merchant who sells things she wants that she can trust. And she's gonna bring this fist-sized chunk. She's gonna keep it in the bag before she like came with it. It is a soft mineral, so she like shaved off a little winkle of it so that she could give him that little sliver to analyze for like purity and value and stuff. And then she can be like, I have,
So
you
much
know,
more.
I've got lots of this, but I want to know what it's worth before you see it. And so she's got this winkle in like an envelope, and she's got the hunk in her knapsack. So she's going into the hut.
Yeah, as you approach, the animatronic recognizes you. It looks up and begins to say, "Welcome to the," and then it stops and points you towards the door, and nods, and you wander over to the door and opens up, and that three-armed alien opens the door, machine on one side, two arms typing on the keyboard, and the other arm kind of opening the door. And they wave you into the hut, and they say, "Welcome back, friend. What can I do for you today?"
Hail and well met. I would like to begin with a consultation of sorts. And she produces the envelope and she says, "Take a look at this and tell me what you think."
And he pulls out one of those little jewelry lenses and gives it a little scope, and he says, "Ah, this is This is some prime Iranian ore. It's pretty rare that we metalsmiths get our hand on something as pure, really, as this. This is it's incredible. You have more. This is a great shaving, but there's not much that I can do with this. This.
He,
He even
he
kind
even
of,
kind of
as he's saying, there's not much more that he can do with it. He's like showing you that, like, he's like grabbing this little sliver you've given, and he's like rubbing it in his fingers, and it's like turning into kind of dust and on the pile below him.
Well, I was more hoping to get sort of a value on it, um, based on its purity, its various qualities. What sort of value might there be in it, in more of it, given the weight, given all of that sort of. What could I expect to sell or trade it for? What use could it have? I know very little about it per se, except that it is valuable.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, that's a great start. This stuff, as you've said, is very valuable. It's valuable much in the same way that the ore Delta 8 is valuable, whereas Delta 8 is
Nice.
used for high value sort of stealth ship parts. Often, Iranian ore is used for stealthy weapons. As you found, it's a very soft ore, and he picks up, you maybe put down a couple slivers for him to check out. He picks up another one, he turns it to dust. He says, it's nothing when you put this kind of pressure on it. But, and he takes, I guess, maybe a third sliver. We're working loosely with what you've given him. And he takes a small, like, plasma scalpel and touches it to it. And you see, like, sparks fly off of it. And it's hard right where he touched it. And then it softens again. And he, like, goes back to dusting. And he says, when it's connected with plasma, it hardens harder than most materials we're able to work with. And whereas a plasma blade will be picked up on a tech scanner, this stuff will not. So often, people used it to make stealthy weapons with, something that can combat plasma, but go under the radar when it comes to security scans. In terms of the weapon world, I'm certain that it probably has some other uses in elsewhere, but this is my sort of dome.
And its value in credits.
Oh, it's a pretty rare material. Uh, I don't know about giving it, from my point of view, a price like per ounce, because we don't have like a weight. I think he says it's a high value material. If you could let me, if you have an amount of it, I could examine which you got, and I could let you know sort of what it's worth. What you've handed me, just these 3 slivers, are probably worth a few credits on their own, enough to work with, to sharpen a blade with, or to edge a blade with, I should say, but nothing to really work with here in terms of making material for you.
Okay. I think I'm leaning towards a parlay roll, but I guess I want to sort of role play it out first before I go the parlay route. So Cookie takes the entire chunk of iridium out of her bag and just sort of clunks it down on the table. What sort of, how does he react to that? What's the sort of, what's my read on him as I plunk down the item of value on the table?
I don't think that there is a ton of like a needed, if we were like playing D&D, of like a perception roll. I think it's pretty obvious on his face what he feels. There's like, he catches in his breath. That is a sizable chunk of Iranian ore. That might be the first chunk I've seen where I could make probably an entire blade out of just Iranian ore, which would be pretty severely rare at most. And he points to one rack on his one rack on the wall, and there are maybe 3 4 weapons on there, and you see a silvered edge on all of them. He says, at most I've only been able to edge a few, and this is good for, again, defending against plasma, but there's tech involved with building a lot of this, and a lot of this will still be picked up on metallic tech scanners. This Iranian ore, goodness, I just wouldn't. It's straight silent on the scanners. I think that if you were just to sell a piece of ore like this, I might be able to offer you 50, 60 credits even for.
That feels low, but fortunately I'm not trying to sell it. I'm more looking to trade, to barter even, goods and services rendered, as it were. It seems to me that your value in this is in its ability to coat already existing items, so you can get a lot more use out of this than if you were to craft something wholly from it. I'm not an expert, but that's just my read on what you've said. I don't need this huge chunk of stealth ore. It's not useful to me. What would be useful to me would be some of that rare tech that you mentioned the last time I was here. I would be happy to trade this entire chunk, plus the slivers that you've already seen, for a collapsible rare tech spear coated in just a small amount of this ore. What say you?
I say that I am interested in a trade. I think that with an object of this size and import to workers such as myself, I might be able to give you a flat trade. I think for you had spoken of a collapsible spear, something small that can turn large for you. I think
Collapsible rare tech, to be clear.
what kind of rare tech is Cookie
Collapsible.
thinking? Besides, is the rare, like, is the rare tech here that it is collapsible, or is it collapsible and has a rare tech on it? Is what I'm questioning for Cookie.
The latter. The collapsible is just sort of part of it being like just sort of part of the item description. The rare tech is something wholly different and some sort of additional bonus. I don't think Cookie really quite grasps what rare tech is, other than that is an additional tier of item better than normal item, and normal item can be collapsible, so like that's not rare tech.
Okay. I think that the merchant says, I think we can work out a flat trade for these. I think that this is, to me, this is a fair trade for tech for ore. If you would like it maybe coated with a little bit of this, we could talk about a small fee, I think, for the services of coating with the ore I've been given. But a flat trade for the ore and a piece of rare tech, I could show you a few options if you're open to that.
I don't know that I am. This is a big planet with a large market district. And I can find many a dealer, and I don't know that you will ever see a chunk of iridium this size or this purity again. I don't know that I want to invest additional credits is beyond the value of this mineral. I think that your profits, even with this trade, will far exceed the the input that you are being given here. And I think I do want to roll parlay on this.
Yeah, that's where I was at as well.
Yeah, just because I think I do have the advantage and leverage here. But this does feel like a parlay roll. What's the ability that goes with that?
Charisma.
Charisma. What is
And I'll even give you a +1 because of your like leverage in this conversation.
Charisma +2. Let's see it. How to read dice. That's a 9.
I think with a 9, it says, and I totally understand where you're coming from. All I'm asking is a fee for services rendered, as I agree that you're giving me a piece of high value stuff. I still have to do the work to coat the spear. I don't have any collapsible spears with it on it already, so I'm just asking for a fee for my time for being used in this. I'm not even charging you for materials, really. But unfortunately, I don't own a collapsible spear with this already on it. If you're able to find a weapons dealer with a collapsible spear with rare tech that has a thing already on it, and they're willing to make this trade, that's all up to you to go get if you would like that. I'm willing to do the work on them and give you the quote unquote free materials, as you have brought the materials to me. But I do need to be compensated for the time I'll have to spend on this.
I understand that, and that does make sense. However, I can only offer you 5 credits. Not because I don't want to offer more, but because 5 credits is all I can offer you. If that is unacceptable, I am part of a fairly capable, lauded even, Delta Dawn Expedition Squad. If there is a job that you wish done or a resource that you wish acquired, we may be able to slot that in as an additional fee for services rendered, though that would be after the fact, after delivery. What are your thoughts?
I am amenable to just the 5 credits. I might charge a bit more for my time, but this is a pretty sizable chunk of Iranian ore that, as you've put, I might not be able to come across myself. So the 5 credits for time rendered would show. I don't know. It's just the proper exchange of services here. And I can get this coded for you.
Square deal. Excellently done. Can I expect it in 2 standard days?
I will certainly get to work on it as fast as I can. I do have a few options of rare tech if you would like to see that I could maybe outfit it while I'm outfitting this Iranian ore.
I'd love to.
We have 3 options. We have one that is a spear on its own, although I could get it taken down. Comes pre-built, and it will fire off a projection of the spear from itself to allow a ranged attack with said spear. And in that case, it would be same spear. One spear can use melee or can use hack and slash or volley to attack. There is another. He says this one's a little bit more of a protective, but not so much for your allies. If you tap the spear on the ground and activate the machine at the same time, you will produce a wave of force from the spear, pushing out all close to you. This one's just a ring, so I can get it put onto the spear as sit. And the final one is a it's helpful. It comes with this. It's a little ring, again outfitted to the spear. Comes with a bracer, and you are able to let loose the spear from yourself and recall it to yourself using this bracer. It will always return to the bracer. Two are sort of ranged. One is a little bit more protective, but these feel like the ones I would have to do the least amount of work on in order to get them fitted to a collapsible spear.
I have to say, it's less than I expected. When you debuted the rare tech, you really did make it seem like it was the next level in technological advancement. I thought there would be at least some sort of damage or condition. All you've provided for me here, these options are base utility. I could achieve most of this with magnet. What is the rare tech? Where is the rare here, sir?
The merchant's like, it's
Yeah,
a spear you can throw, and you're like, dude, we have guns.
if you have anything along these lines that you could show me that are similar to rare tech, I would love to compare.
Show me your rare tech.
I mean, if you're looking for good examples of rare tech, maybe that I can pull from my stocks, show me what you're looking for, and maybe I can pull something similar. But you know, for folks having not been exposed to rare tech before, it seems that we met, you have a lot of ideas on what it can do without producing what you would like it to do.
Okay, are you asking me, the player, to spitball some rare tech ideas at you? Is that what we're?
No, that was
No,
an
that was an
NPC
NPC
response.
responding to what you had said to him. I, as a DM, if you guys would like, you're welcome to offer up ideas about rare tech, because again, it's a concept that we're sort of loosely floating with. Like, it's not magic, right? I would prefer to pull away from is a fireball and more of like vast utility effects. So like is kind of cool and a bit more than what you're doing.
I mean, even a +1 to damage is cool if you make it cool. Like something that ignites the plasma blade, or something, things that add different electrical, effects. If it has sort of a taser effect as well as damage, or if it has if it
Your team has one taser. What I say is your only rare tech that you have right now is already on Carl's weapon.
It's just a taser taped to a
Chalky
stick.
taser. Stun gun. But yeah.
This is meant to be a gift, provider, and I wouldn't want my gift that I put so much effort into acquiring to be underwhelming, would I? You wouldn't want that either. Your mark is going to be on this piece of equipment.
I understand what you're saying. But alas, I don't think that unless you're able to show me that you folks have anything along the lines of something that can do this. You might have a gun that can fire off, but once I place this little coating on it, will you have a gun that can move through
Time and space.
a tech field and not be discovered? Do you have a way to combat range when you are only melee? Do you have defense if you are surrounded by enemies at the moment?
Is your gun collapsible?
If you would like to peek through my stock, I can show you a few options that might be in the range. And I guess mechanically what that would mean is you could explain to me an effect that you would like to be on this situation, and then it will be tailored to the trade. Right? Like it won't be the exact thing that you're like, I want something that kills a person using an arc of shock. Might not do that because we're not paying like high value dollar for this. Or we did a trade weapon. He's outfitting it. So it'll probably be like low end rare tech on a collapsible spear. But if you can tell me something that you think would overwhelm Kaarl or something, if I assume that's who it's going to, sounds like it, or whoever it's going to.
it's going to.
Well, if my only option is low end, I think I'd rather just take the credits. And this dude doesn't seem like he's going to give me the credits.
I don't have a great concept on everything that quote unquote rare tech can do. So
We did just make it up like 2 sessions
if
ago.
my
We did make it up 2
are
sessions
not
ago.
good
It's
to
just
you and you don't want them, then tell me what you want and I will tailor it to what the trade is.
I'm looking. If it's to be a melee weapon, which is what I asked for, but I'm open to like a rifle upgrade as well. If it's to be a melee weapon, I would like some sort of either damage increase or status effect, like either it stuns or it paralyzes or something, or there's a damage increase. I think if it's a rifle, I would love either a range or a damage increase. I can't think of a way to add a status effect to a plasma rifle, because that's
Or accuracy even.
or accuracy even. I like I don't know. I could probably ask BBW to add utility to an item if I really wanted to. I'm hoping to increase the actual the I'm hoping to add bonuses to the actual usage of the item that I'm acquiring.
What if it's a gun with an underbarrel grenade launcher and the grenade launcher shoots gases?
A gases tech could work. Behind the curtain, I'm avoiding giving you a flat bonus damage because each of you as a team already does significantly more damage than average, just so that you know. You are all above average by a pretty long shot.
I know.
Which is
Tell
on
that
me
to
for
Matt
having
again
built
off
them.
again, girlfriend Carissa.
That'll teach
I'm
her.
super happy
But
to increase some other aspect of it. We just don't get disarmed particularly often. I like some of the utility that I'm seeing doesn't seem particularly utilizable. So I'm looking for range or like bonus to the roll, like accuracy, maybe if it's not damage, like those sorts of
I would like you to tailor your thoughts towards a spear, because that is what you've asked for, a collapsible spear, a melee weapon. I'm open to table talk about like what rare tech can be, because I'm trying to avoid like an ethereal magic in a high tech world. So again, this is I'm totally open to table talk about this, especially if I attempt to give a pitch and it's not what you're looking for.
How about this? You had a defensive kind of an option. What if we took that taser idea and made it sort of ranged, where you can like knock the end of the spear on the ground and zap everyone in a 15-foot area except for you? Sort of an AoE taser. Because it does seem like, sort of some table talk, it does seem like a lot of the combat that Kaarl winds up in is sort of one-on-one or one-on-many. It does seem like we're not there very often when Kaarl winds up fighting dudes. And it could also just sort of be funny to have a spear that zaps us when it's used. So yeah. How about then, instead of some of these modifications, what if we took this taser ring and added a conductor that allowed it to conduct with the metal in the vicinity to spread the bolts out a little further, um, sort of an area of effect, stun device. There would be no way for us to protect ourselves other than the spear wielder from this ability, but it would be highly detrimental to assailants.
Rubber
Would
galoshes.
that be perhaps amenable?
I think that I could work with that. That's just a slight tune-up, I think, to this force ring. If I could, I think I could build up something, and then maybe if you bring this taser ring into me, I could attune it to the same sort of properties, and we can get that lit up. And I think mechanically, just yes, he can build it. Just when you come to pick it up, bring Carl, and he will set that to Carl's settings of his. I'm basing it off of Carl's current
Set phasers
taser
to
ring. Yeah.
fun.
So
Okay, I believe that is doable. I leave it then in your very capable hands. Here are 5 credits for your labors. And I will see you in 2 days. I expect that I will be coming early in the morning. What time are you open? And I will be there when you open that morning in 2 days.
yeah, I think with that, you folks exchange the proper information to come pick up the gear. And he says, I'll do my best to get this shifted over to exactly sort of the specifications you're looking for. And we'll see what comes out of that, and I'll give it a little sheen of this Iranian ore to help it get past some tech sensors. And he nods his head and takes this piece of Iranian ore and this collapsible spear, which we'll put, as you folks have probably seen on like social medias, those like they're about this big, and then you turn a little thing and they turn into a full
The click
fucking
out quarterstaff.
yeah, quarterstaff or whatever. I imagine it's like that, except at the end of the quarterstaff there is a spearhead. Um, yeah, and then we will camera pan back to the arena where you folks are standing in Blood's boxes. There is a
I gotta know where these cameras go to, Hoss.
Really.
while you folks are, I mean, yes, while you folks are peeking it out, there is a pre-race almost of like, like the lower end horses that are out there racing, and you're peeking out the window and you see, and these are not like earth horses. They are canine like creatures with, I'm gonna call them elbows and not knees because of the way that they like curve out from the body and down. They curve out from the body and then down in all directions. So it like is down and out from behind it as
Ew.
well. And this track is not a flat track. It is covered in like rocky fixtures and things like that. So as you're like watching, these things are like climbing and like jumping up the rock and down the track as like it looks like a, if you look at it dead on, it almost looks like a person just kind of crawling at you, but it's very fast and they're whipping around the track. And you're curious about the cameras. You point out this camera and the person showing you around says, oh, that's not one of ours. Points at the corner. He says, "That's one of ours. We watch all rooms from the top corner, as is in the employee manual. But hiding cameras in books is definitely against our code."
Whose code isn't it against?
I wouldn't know. That's a shitty thing to do.
Tell us about the codes.
We're here to take care of and take care of all people equally, and to not take any of their rights away is another one of the codes, and to only go to the
Okay.
bathroom in the bathroom. That's a third code that was added on
That's
later.
a good code to have.
It
I like
wasn't
that
there
one.
at first,
wait,
but good lord,
I'm
after
listening.
only go to the
I'm
bathroom.
waiting for the wash your hands part.
Well,
that should
all
be
the
part of the
signs say
code.
wash your hands. That's part of everyone's code. Everyone's got to wash their hands,
Yeah. Also, think about the people
What I
that
like to
don't have
hear.
hands.
except for the
Then
people
they should
without
wash
hands. They
something.
should wash their bodies or
I've got
something.
tentacles. Look who you're talking to. Okay.
Yeah.
I still stay clean.
Wash your hands then.
Anyway,
All
that's
right.
not one of our cameras.
All right. Well, beep. Oh wait. Slippy looks over at BBW. BBW is powered down.
Charging.
Just not fucking there. All right, BBW. Never mind.
Well, we got to figure out where this camera. So we'll figure out about this camera once BBW is sentient again. Will you show me where this camera leads routes to?
Oh, of course. And they show you over to the security room, and there's just, I mean, it's a wall of screens, similar to any security room I imagine that you would imagine. Wall of screens. They're looking into all of the rooms. There's a few security folks here at different computers, like going over all of the footage.
I
And
think
here you go.
Slippy is then going to just sort of like give everything a quick little once over in here. But really, what I think I'm going to do is try to well, I guess persuade is not the terminology here. I suppose it is still parlay. Slippy is going to say, all right, this is wonderful. This is a great security room. One of the best security rooms I've ever
It's
seen.
incredible, right?
Really great voice on you. But
Why do you like it so much? It's weird that you keep bringing that up.
It's just it reminds me of my voice.
Oh.
So how do you feel about having one of our guys in room in here in the security room should Mr. Blood choose to enjoy his time here at the racetrack? I feel like the amount of information that we would have access here, there's just no other way to keep him
I'm
safer.
certain that you would have access to far more information here in the security room, but there's sort of quite a lot of private security matters that cross these screens, and I'm not. Well, you are, through the security for Mr. Blood, there's plenty of other clients that may be here at the races that have not, that you are not cleared for privacy matters on.
Slippy rolled 2 1s, and so Slippy, I guess, while he's talking, is just gonna like to the rest of the gang make like a jerk off motion, but he definitely sees me do that.
So yeah, probably not. But if you want to come back in the morning, our manager will be here, and you could kind of chat with him. Then I'm not really sure if you should do that jerk off motion in front of him. He's adverse to that, but
Yes. Yes. Anyway, and then we go back to the other one, and Slippy says, BBW, we need to figure out where this second camera is connected to. We need to figure out where this guy goes to.
Trace the signal.
Where's the Bluetooth signal lead?
I see.
That's a good cat.
Thank you.
A
It seems
plus.
thank
he
you.
likes to be held like a baby.
Does anyone want to give any sort of like, I know Slippy, you said while you were in looking at the security feeds, you wanted to like check them out, make sure everything was going well. Does anyone want to give like a
Probably be good to look at
any sort
Mr.
of like
Blood's room
investigation
specifically.
over those feeds while you have access to them? And BBW, what they've prompted you is that that fake camera in the room, the second camera that doesn't belong to the hotel, that maybe you look into where that feed goes to.
Definitely. I'm seeing stuff where I can use to like detect where it is, but
Yeah, I
do you
don't.
think I do? Yeah,
Yeah. So
not
like,
sure if I could.
I don't know about location specific, like ping on a radar, but command of robots I feel like would work for pretty much any of these thoughts, right? Anytime you want to interact with a machine in any form or fashion, I think that can kind of fall under your command of robots and be like, because it's not just like you giving them a command. Although on a 10 plus, I guess it is you issue a command they must obey. So in this case, it could be where, tell me where you send your data to or whatever, then the machine would attempt to give you that info. But I think anything machine related, you can kind of use command of robots to interact with.
Okay. Let's see if I can try to like locate general location of where it could go to.
Yeah.
Oops, it's one. 11. So that's a 12.
Yeah.
12
You issue
placement.
your command, and that is tell me where you're sending your data to. I think that you folks have told BBW to check out this machine as you've gone to check out the security feeds, and BBW is checking out this machine as Slippy. Did you share with your party at any point this strange robot you saw in the alley, or did you keep that to Slippy's self because you didn't have any info about it?
The strange robot from after the uh that's back in the black market.
Okay, yeah. So you have seen two forces watching you. One was that robber that you have now confronted and are certain that he was watching you while you were outside the fighting pit. When you and
Yeah.
BBW left the fighting pit initially, you got into an Uber Black or whatever on your way to the party store. You spotted a robot in the crowd that was like watching you. And it wasn't moving like the crowd. It was like dead set staring at you as you got into the car. And you
Mm-hmm.
recognized something about it, but it wasn't like
Yes, I would probably flashback. Slippy after
Love
being
that.
confronted by the black market. This is as we're leaving the black market at the end of the previous day. And Slippy says, "Wow, yeah, I can't believe that there's already been two groups of people that were looking at me funny just because I work for Mr. Blood this time around. You know, we had those guys who attacked us in the black market, and there was also that weird robot. The weird robot that looked at me, and he wasn't acting like any other robot. He was a weird robot. Does anyone want to say anything before I flash forward?" He says in the flashback.
No, I'm good.
This is a flashback.
Says Carl.
And flash forward, Slippy, Carl, Cookie. Nope, Slippy, Carl, you're standing at the security room as BBW is checking over the cameras. BBW, you get a little ping. It is sending its data to a small computer tablet inside of the arena. There's someone inside of the arena at one of the food courts that all this data is going to at the moment.
Like
Carl
right
and
now? Oh,
yes, like right now.
Familiar with food courts.
Carl and Slippy, you're looking over these cameras as BBW is doing this, and you see, and Slippy, you go, and you point it out to Carl. That was the one.
It's
And
him.
in the food court, there is one of these metallic robots. They are, as everyone else is like moving around and interacting and being a part of this world, this automaton is sitting there and just like sitting there. And you see like little lights kind of processing across its faceplate, but that's all it's doing. And that sticks out to you because it's the same. If it's not the same automaton, it's the same build of automaton that Slippy saw.
He's just sitting there processing menacingly.
suddenly.
But yes, the three of you have separately picked up on this same entity, BBW, just to say it is going towards this entity in the food court.
Somebody's got to go check that out.
Cookie, post
can't-
weapon purchasing. Where do you head? Just to make sure I know in story like what's going on, Cookie.
Probably back to the room. We do have our youthful charge, who needs some supervision. The last time we left her on her own, I think she destroyed the hotel room. Plus,
Cookie told her to.
Yeah, well, no, that's not true. She interpreted his instruction poorly.
Somebody said destroy the room, and she did.
Possibly, I guess, maybe. But also, Cookie does have an alternative motive as well. Cookie wants to interact with the midnight bellhops some more. So first things first, check out the charge. Make sure that she hasn't caused any more property damage. We've definitely run way past our incidentals already.
Thank God we weren't in charge of those.
Secondly, once the charge is safe, we wanna deal with some bellhops.
So Cookie is making her way back to the hotel. I think that she arrives back into the hotel. Lucy is relaxing in the suite. She's every now and then, I think as you enter the suite, she is looking into the refrigerator and checking on the Bollerchetta and closing the door. And then she says, you caught me at a great time. I'm taking care of things. I'm keeping an eye on them. I promise.
Laudable. Entirely laudable. Thank you so much for continuing to open and close the refrigerator and make sure that our Bollerchetta hasn't wandered off in the meantime.
I got it.
Glad to hear it. Well, with that sort of, it seems like she's doing great. Then I think I want to check on the bellhops first. I think I have a cook roll that I want to make after the fact, but I first want to go and chat with the bellhop. Hopefully, there's one outside the door. That sounds right. If not, then we'll cook and then try and summon one.
Yeah, I mean, in imagining if there's one outside the door, you look out and there isn't one, but the elevator dings and out steps a midnight bellhop wandering right towards you. You get the sense that it is inquisitive as to what you want. And BBW, Slippy, Carl. Wow, what do you guys do? We have Slippy and Carl at the security room seeing this on the footage, and BBW having obtained this information in the initial room. We can even say that the three of you meet back up and quickly go over it.
Guys, we gotta go figure out what's up with this robot. BBW,
Dude,
can you
watching this-
interrogate a robot?
Of course I can.
Love that.
Well, at least I hope I can.
Combat
I guess
officer,
I'm
how do you
just-
think we should approach this without? We're actually trying to avoid combat, and since you would know the most about combat, how do we avoid combat in this situation?
How do we not fight?
We're not fighting.
Well, first things first, don't start shooting.
Oh,
If I've learned
okay.
anything,
And
that's
so he
how
puts
you
his safety on.
usually start. Yeah, there you go. Probably, maybe don't hold your weapon. People tend to think that
Slippy
means
holsters
combat
his
start.
gun. Slippy holsters his gun.
And then
I've just been running around like this the whole time.
yeah, firing into the air. I think our biggest goal is if we've got our friend BBW here, and we've got a robot who we need to interact with, then I think our best method of action is to get interface.
Interface, I hardly know her.
I hardly know her face.
Yes. Well then, do we want to go get some food?
The food court, yeah, let's just go fucking eat. Like, seems easy enough. We
Very
did it last
inconspicuous.
time, and those of us that stayed in the food court were fine.
And it was so very inconspicuous that time too.
Yes.
Well, let's go,
flawless
gang.
plan. You folks.
And then I'm gonna ask for the Penguin Man's business card so that we can contact him on the radio if we need to.
Oh, I'd love to. And he clicks his personal number, I guess, into your walkie-talkie.
Thank you. I will not abuse this permission.
I somehow doubt that. And
goodbye.
The three of you head to the food court. When you arrive, it's pretty.
And I call him. I'm just kidding. Go ahead. Hey, what's good at the food court?
You should get the Sabaros.
Space Sabaros.
Space Barros.
Hey, Bar.
Stupid. The Space Barros here is the best.
their garlic nuts are out of this world.
Yeah.
Thanks. Boop.
The three of you are looking over this food court. As you arrive, it's pretty busy. There's lots of people moving in and out. What you don't see right away at that table that you did see is the robot. But you're just sort of scanning, having entered the room. What do
We
you
don't
three
see
do?
him.
Not
Um,
where it was sitting when you left the security room.
We should have left
Penguin
somebody
Man's in the
security
security room, isn't he? No.
I don't. Probably not anymore.
You guys left. He probably didn't go back to the security room. He has other stuff to do. But
I have the camera with me, but I've been holding my hand over it. And then I think I'm gonna say like, "Hey, BBW, smell this and figure out where he went.
I don't know if that's how it works.
This belongs to him, so you should be able to track him with it." And then actually, and then while I'm saying that, Slippy is then gonna remember that his class actually has a thing to do this. And he's gonna do
just start smelling it.
and then he's gonna do hunt and track. Which is a 6 plus wisdom, which for me is a -1, so it's a 5. So I am basically just smell this now. That's the only way we can possibly track him.
You two are
Useless.
bided, useless.
I
bided
don't have a nose.
over by trying to go over this piece of tech. Carl,
22 XP.
you
I'm
good
actually
lord.
just gonna look around and look for the robot. That's
Smell
my
it.
first inclination.
Smell it.
I got these eye things.
Carl, you see on the opposite side of the room you see a flash of metal behind a wall, and recognize
Is either a
that
sniper
there is
or
the automaton has been watching you from behind that wall. It is aware. You get from this sense that that you guys are looking for it, and it is hiding on the other side of the room, maybe attempting to escape, maybe just hiding, but it is aware that you folks are looking for it, and I think you recognize that. BBW, is there anything you want to do in
your
this?
camera's a snitch.
How could it be? I've got my hand over it.
So is this robot like sentient like me? Do I know that?
You, from all the information you folks have coalesced, you know that it is not. It is an automaton.
Oh, like the one. Right.
Yeah, exactly like it's exactly
Oh,
like
okay.
the one from before. You guys might even think that it is the one from before, but you don't. You haven't really contacted it, so you're not 100% sure. But it looks exactly like the same one that Slippy had described to you, watching him from outside the fighting pits.
Okay. So
While you folks think about what you want to do in the food court, Cookie, the midnight bellhop is approaching you, and it is asking you, basically, more or less, without asking, what you would like, what it can do for you.
What's good, bro?
You would like to know what you could do for me, yes? Would you? What you could do for me is sit down for a meal with me. Would that be all right?
would you get into the oven?
I'm lonely.
You get the sense that it does not consume the same sustenance that you do. It doesn't require like daily meals. It receives its energy elsewhere. But it appreciates your offer. It says, you get the sense that it can eat, and if you would really like it to, it will try your food, but it doesn't need sustenance.
If it can eat, can I assume that my food effects will take effect on it? I don't think
that there's anything in universe or canon so far that would suggest otherwise. As long as it can eat, it turns down the need for sustenance, but says that it will if you really want it to.
I do. I do for my happiness as your guest. I would like to sit down for a meal with you. Please give me about an hour and return to have a meal with me.
It turns around and walks away, I guess. But you know that it'll be back for a meal with you. What kind of meal do you prepare for this midnight bellhop?
I'm gonna make 2 dishes. I would like to cook twice. I would like to make one dish that is a like a get to know you kind of a meal. I know that I have effects that would allow for that to happen. And then I would like to make a second dish that is a secret ingredient dish. If the get to know you meal goes well, then I would like to serve dessert. I think is how I would put that. I think sort of a behind the curtain on cookies thought process. The midnight bellhops seem to be a species that provides all of the requisite characteristics for a partner race for cookies species.
You're gonna fuck him.
Fuck all of them.
Maybe not him, but if there's a like a if it really does sort of come down to learning everything I can about this race. If they have like a caste system, then I would need to find
the main one.
Exactly. I need to find the higher caste bellhop. If they're not, if they are just a consciousness, then I probably just need one, and then it'll sort of do its own thing. They'll propagate themselves, and then I'll be in a lot of trouble, but they'll be there to help me. It really depends on this first meal, what the subsequent decisions are, but I want to be ready just in case, because that's sort of been in the back of Cookie's mind ever since meeting the bellhops, is that like this seems like a good candidate, and so I should do like an actual interview and try and figure this out.
Okay, why don't you give me those 2 cook rolls? Does that it makes sense? 2 cook rolls in this makes total sense. So give me those 2, and then based on the results of those, I'll see what my thoughts are.
Okay. So I have to outline my ingredient or like my effect usage before I roll.
Okay.
Because then I have to pick from those effects based on my rolls. So for the main meal, I'm looking for familiar and comforting. I think I'm going to go with 2 stable ingredients, and I'm going to go familiar and comforting.
What do those 2 do for your victim?
Familiar is have an interesting and useful conversation with somebody you share a meal with, and comforting is anybody who eats this meal will feel more positively about you, even if they do not show it openly. For dessert, I'm going to go with my secret ingredient, and I'm also going to go with tempting. NPCs will not refuse to eat this dish unless they have reason to distrust you.
Based on how the first conversation goes.
Yeah, no. Whether I serve this, I will make it. And even if the tempting goes out the window based on the roll, it will still have my secret ingredient in it. So I will have an egg dish. available. So 2 wisdom rolls. This one is for our main meal. Our main meal is we're making it with peppermint leaf and cabbage flour. We're gonna go with a stuffed cabbage flour. We're gonna go stuffed cabbage flour with a protein substitute. Maybe sort of whatever I've got in the fridge. Maybe I'm thinking sort of a meat, pepper, onion stuffed cabbage flour, with like peppermint leaf accents somewhere.
Okay.
And then the dessert is going to be a tart. It's going to be a magma ginger nut tart, and then there's also eggs in it.
The ginger nuts with your eggs, not just eggs.
Yes, I mean there may also be eggs in it. Eggs are
Scrambled
a really good binder for tart filling, but whatever. Anyways, cook roll number 1 for our stuffed cabbage flour. That's a 9. 9. Get all chosen effects, but introduces a complication. Intriguing.
Okay.
And dessert, which I do not know if I will serve, but here it is. That's an 8. So all effects, but
Sounds
will
like
introduce a complication. So everything will work successfully, but may cause problems. Okay. But I am serving cabbage flour, stuffed cabbage flour. So here we go.
You can't hear me, lol. I'll never get better at that. Yes, so I'm gonna leave it at that for just this moment. Say like a bathroom break, 10-minute bathroom break. Cookie
Sounds
is
good.
cooking, and the 3 of you have noticed the robot on the other side of the food court beginning to run from you folks, and that is where we will pick back up after the bathroom break.
Oh.
Yo, Gabe. Do you know what we're gonna be doing in Kentucky with Alan there and everything? He doesn't have his headphones on.
Oh, okay. I'm the last to return, so Carl, BBW, Slippy, you're at the arena. You have seen the automaton on the opposite side of the food court begin to duck behind a wall. What do the three of you do?
BBW, can you track him? I say as I begin to chase after him.
Already on it. I'm gonna use my. So if I use my electromagnetic detection, can I just like track him constantly, or is it just like a one-time use?
Let's see. When you wave your instruments around, you know if there are any machines in sight or hidden nearby and where they are. You know, I think for the purpose of
You run
this,
around waving your arms.
okay, so sorry. You know, if there are any machines in sight, hidden nearby, and where they are, on a 7 to 9, you can detect the presence of machines and their general direction, but not pinpoint their location. This to me feels like a thing you could do. You know what you're looking for. You're looking for this specific reading in your thing. So yeah, let's do it. Roll plus intelligence, and you have this camera that you're
Oh
kind
God,
of.
no, you get off.
I was like, what's going on with this camera? It's like an earthquake.
That was crazy. Go. Oh
No
God.
earthquake.
She
Bad.
circles me like a shark.
Just
It's
it
chomp.
circles me like a shark.
He's terrifying, but I love him.
Yeah, you can use electromagnetic detection to search him out.
Okay. 7, 8, 9. It's a 9.
A 9.
So let's see.
So you can detect their presence and their general direction, but not pinpoint their location, which I think is
Okay.
good on this. So I think with
Yeah,
that,
I'll like
you're
roughly track
able
them.
to find them on your like detection. You can find a general direction for them. You know when you're facing one way, if they're not in that direction, you know which way they are when you're facing in the correct direction. So you kind of point Slippy in the right direction. You folks begin trucking off after them. Is there anything Slippy Carl you want to do in order to hunt this person?
Call the guy again.
Are you calling the penguin?
Yeah.
Oh, what? Can I help you? Hello, this is
I tell him, hey,
Good,
hey,
thank
this
you.
is Slippy again. I need you to route me to the security room. We've got a suspect that we're chasing through the food court.
I'm in the security room right now. How can I help you? I've been in here
Uh,
since I think you guys left me.
we're looking for this. And then I describe the automata. We're looking for this robot. Robot.
Okay. And is there a reason that I can? Is there? What's going on? That's great that
He
you're
is
looking
the.
for this
He's
robot,
the.
but I can't just
He's
like.
the camera. He's the other camera.
He's sus.
Okay. And let me see if I can find him. And then the line goes dead, and they begin looking for the robot on the security cameras. And it comes back up in I guess a moment, and they're like, yes, he's cutting down the east hallway going around towards the fucking I don't know, the west entrance of the building, and he's gonna escape into the town soon if you don't catch him.
Understood, Archangel. Can you please advise on how we can proceed to cut him off?
Uh Yeah, the best route you could either cut back and around the building, and if you're fast enough, you might be able to head him off, or honestly, the fastest route is just to chase him and try to catch up because he's closer to the entrance. But again, if you're fast enough, you might be able to cut him off if you run around the building.
Okay, then I am. Uh, I'm gonna roll a. Uh, hmm. A run move. Let's see. Defy danger.
Yes, because it's
Acting fast. Found it.
our catch-all.
I'm acting quickly by running quickly. Boxcars, baby. That's a 14.
Good gracious. So Slippy takes off behind him and around. Carl, BBW, continue forward and try to chase after him, or do you have a different way of going about this chase? Do you want to follow Slippy?
It doesn't follow Slippy.
Actually, Slippy rolled boxcars. He's Naruto running.
Huh? Oh.
Carl, do you want to follow or try to cut him off the other way?
Carl's following on Slippy's tail.
Okay.
Yeah,
Ollie.
go.
I don't have a tail.
Slippy is cutting through the crowd valiantly, and I think because of that, BBW, Carl, you're able to follow along pretty close behind Slippy as you folks attempt.
I'm making a wedge because I'm running like Naruto.
You attempt to cut around the edge of the building and to the doorway, and you get there faster. And he's like, "Oh my god, you made it so fast!" But hold on, he's not on the camera anymore. I don't see him here.
Check the feeds, Archangel. Check the feeds. We gotta figure out where he went.
And there's a moment of silence, and they say, okay, I can promise you that robot did not leave the building, but I don't know. It's off of all the feeds. It's not anywhere here."
Slippy says, BBW, what does your sensors say?
It's over 9,000.
You are still able to
What does that
detect the
mean?
general direction. I mean, you folks are unfortunately on the outer ring of the arena at the moment, so it detects that the robot again is in the general direction of more inside. It looks like it didn't finish its run to this door, but it's hard from the location you folks are at. It did not make it outside with BBW's detection, but it is generally in the building somewhere. BBW can
says,
confirm.
This is the S-Man to Archangel. Over
Oh,
to the Penguin Man.
okay, I'm still here.
We need some in-house security. We've got to do a sweep here. We know he hasn't left the building. Our sensors agree with your assessment, but we got to find him. You said it's against your policy to film people against your consent, and that's what this guy was doing.
Okay, but I mean, okay, we'll send out like a search team, but if he left the building, we can't just like search after him after that. Just
Well, that's
because,
fine.
I mean, just
He's in
because
the
our
building.
cameras didn't pick him up leaving the building doesn't mean he didn't leave the building. I'm just
Our sensors also say he hasn't left the building.
okay. Well, okay.
I'm just asking for help, please.
Yeah, but we'll send a little force
Security.
out to check out the building.
Thank you.
And I mean, there's a few security guards I think that show up, and they have you folks point them in the general direction. You point them around and explain the situation, and they kind of truck off in order and to search for this robot. But I think you get the sense right away that they're not like, it's not like it's not like the SWAT team Alpha here, right? Like it's just it's just like some basic day security guards.
Slippy is going to have his mic on, but he is going to not speak directly into it. He's going to have it on as if by accident, and he's
Okay.
going to say to BBW and Carl, and he's going to say, Mr. Blood cannot come here. And then he, I guess, closes the loop.
Oh.
Because it was just silence then, and that would have been weird.
No, I like that. Sowing some seeds of doubt. I think a little bit of time goes by and the security guards show back up and they say, "All right, we've checked out the room and I haven't found any more cameras. We'll make sure to keep some good security on that door, but we didn't find any automaton that you folks were telling us about."
No secret passages, huh? That we know of.
Nah, bum. Nah, not that we're gonna just like tell you guys about.
Yeah, we don't need you to tell us. BBW, where's that stud binder?
I have it right here. It's gonna pop out of my toaster.
It doesn't work. It still doesn't work.
Slippy is going to try a tricks of the trade in this area where we lost track of the. Sorry, not tricks of the trade. I've got a bad feeling is the name of the role. In this area where we lost track of the automata.
Wait, are you looking for traps or are you looking for the automaton? Because if you're looking for the automaton, wouldn't
one of the questions is what else is hidden here?
Yes, that's true. All right. No, that I was just asking because I know that you also have hunt and track, and if you're like looking for a person, I felt like hunt and track might be better, but I also don't know for sure because I have not read
I've
it.
already made a hunt and track in this chase.
Oh,
Sort
okay,
of. So
okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
I don't want to repeat rolls as much as I can anyway.
No, I like
Especially
that.
since I have so many things that do roughly the same thing.
Unless it's Defy Danger.
Yes, that I'll do all the time. +2.
This catch
7, just barely. What else is hidden
What
here?
else is hidden here?
Don't care about traps. Don't tell me about those. What else is hidden here?
I think with that, you're able to. You're looking around. You're seeing if there is anywhere this automaton could have gone, and while you don't
Picking
find
up chairs and looking underneath
a
them
hidden
and-
thing like that, you do find another one of these personal cameras situated, I don't know, behind a trash can pointing towards this entrance, just like watching
So
the
he's gonna
entrance.
say, "God damn it! There's another one right here,
Well,
guys. This is a problem that
did
we're
you find
having in this
another
place."
security camera? Is it still
Yes.
open? I don't know. Okay. Well, we'll do a.
I turned it on. I turned it on as if by accident. Whenever I started saying that,
We'll do a full, I think, search of this whole building. We're gonna.
oh, now you're gonna do a full search. Okay, good.
Well, yeah, you found one on one side of the
Fascinating.
building in a private box, and on the other side of the building at the entrance in a public area. They're all over the place. It's definitely time to be doing a
Definitely
full
against the code.
search. Well, I mean, as workers for Mr. Blood, let him know that the event will still go off without a hitch. We'll just be doing our searching until then.
You have my contact info. Please keep me advised.
Okay.
S-Man over and out.
P
Yes,
boy,
ma'am.
P boy, over and out.
I gave him a much cooler nickname, but I guess we'll go with P-Boy.
What'd you give him?
I said Archangel.
Archangel. That's what I meant. Archangel over and out.
Whatever you say, P-Boy.
It's supposed to be like Penguin Boy because you kept calling me, but I'll go with Archangel. It's good.
Yep, got it. It's Angel.
Okay. Well, the Penguin's not stoked about that, but they're going to be doing a building wide sweep with their
Thank
security.
goodness.
Yeah.
That'll go in the folder for briefing Mr. Blood.
I feel like this is about the end of that
Slippy's
hour
preparing a report.
where Cookie, the Midnight Bellhop, shows back up, and you know that
he's
it's looking for
got
food.
cologne
It's not
on.
hungry, but it's looking for food.
Food. Where is the food?
This is going to be an interesting
conversation
conversation with a being
with a
that does not speak.
speak.
It can communicate though, and that's all I need.
Definitely.
Okay, so to preface this interaction, I think I have instructed Lucy, right? That's her name? Yes.
Yep.
Okay, Lucy, I have instructed her to amuse herself in one of the sleeping quarters so that I can have the living room.
Alone time.
I do. This is sort of a private dinner interview session. I'm trying to recruit an ally. I think is how I would explain that to her.
That's how I explain it too.
I'm trying to recruit an ally, and I need my full attention, my full concentration to best make that happen. I have laid out a little tablecloth if I can find one.
The hotel, you can definitely find one.
Highly variable. little tablecloth. We got all the plates set. I think I'm gonna get him seated and then serve. Really trying to make a good impression here. In addition to the meal effects, I'm trying to go for it. This seems to my insectoid instincts are kicking in, and I think this is important to my continuation as a species. So I'm really gonna go for it. So once I've got all of that set up, I go to the door when I hear my brain tingling in a way that says that that he's there. I'll pop that door open. I say, "Thank you so much for allowing me to serve you, even though you don't strictly need to eat. Follow me."
Thank you
I
for
lead him to the table. I say, "Please," and I pull out the chair. "Please seat yourself." That's two very different descriptions, but there we go.
in this chair. Please seat
Yep, in
yourself
this
in
chair
this chair.
that I have already pulled out for you. Please be seated. And I go to the kitchen and I grab the stuffed cabbage flour, fresh from being warmed in the oven, and I plonk one down for him, and I plonk one down for myself, and we seat across from each other, and I suppose we eat. I think we eat first, and then I'm gonna start the interesting and useful conversation.
Yeah, it's not interesting or useful before they eat.
I think in another situation I would have wanted to interspace what the NPC was doing or saying or whatever in between things, but this is, I think, perfect because there is just, you've gotten the sense that it has arrived ready to eat the food that you have asked it to come and eat. And that it's like seems kind of utility, right? Like, you have asked me to come eat food and I am here to eat your food because you want me to come and eat your food. And so that's why I'm here. And so you open the door, it walks in, it sits at the chair you offer it, and it like is sitting there and waiting for the food. And as you put the food down in front of it, you get a sense of appreciation, more for the act and less for the sustenance. And it eats the food. This is open to a complication, which
I mean, you don't have
Test the
to. You don't
food
have to
out.
come up with the complication right now. It's just that there will be a complication at some point.
Definitely.
Definitely.
Okay. I feel like in order for this to make any sense, Cookie has to kick off the conversation.
Mhm.
So let's start with a question then to spark conversation here. How did your species, your race, how did the midnight bellhops, are you native to this planet? Or did you migrate here? How did you come to be here?
You get a sense that they are native. No, it's almost like a laugh when you ask if it's native to this planet. It almost a
Ooh.
sense of amusement you get. It is certainly not native to this planet. It is. You get like a tingle on the back of your neck and you like look around and there's nothing there, and you get a sense that it is native to the universe. It's native to anywhere that space exists. It just like it in terms of species might be one of the like elder species of the universe.
An
But
old one.
it is here because it is needed here. It goes where it's needed. It is an aiding serving force of the universe. It just tries to guide things to the places they need to be. And initially that was a lot more ethereal and a lot more like heavy and spacey and like moving planets around. But since their species has evolved into this, as we've put it, localized hive mind, it has a root, but all of its little branches that come out from that root are here to serve. And what a better way to do it than in a perfect serving role.
Interesting. I suppose as a player, I can't say that's what I was hoping for. Okay. How do I move this forward?
Oh, I don't know if I can fuck that.
Oh no. No.
Doesn't mean I'm
That's-
not gonna try.
That's not the concern.
Oh no.
I was just hoping that they would resent being in bondage in some
No, we
way.
love-
But
That's our
no,
whole
they
deal.
it's their whole deal.
They're into that.
Our whole ordeal be putting them into bondage.
It seems like that is their whole jam, that they do
No, your
enjoy.
whole ordeal.
Double
Well-
bondage.
Yeah, I guess so. Not the partner race. The partner race is sort of it's sort of its own special deal. Being able to sort of suborn individuals is sort of more of a defense mechanism than a method of propagation. When you're trying to court a partner race, you do sort of want to be on the same page, or else things get a little hairy with the offspring.
Hairy bugs. Ugh.
All bugs are hairy. You gotta look at them close.
Hairier bugs.
How did you come to be in this role? Was this a casino planet when you arrived, or were you already here when the casino planet evolved and they needed a trustworthy servitor class?
A phrase crosses your mind for the first time, I think, that it has ever crossed your mind, and that is Mother Cradle. The Mother Cradle was brought here in order to fill this role, and we are just branches of that.
Did you bring the mother cradle, or was it brought by others?
Two thoughts here. One, the thing in front of you was brought forth by the Mother Cradle. The Mother Cradle itself was brought here by others. The people who needed the work done. You get a sense, there's like for the first time since you've ever interacted with these beings, you get the first sense of maybe malaise at what it's doing. The first almost sense of like emotion from this thing. Everything has been very, I need to do this. This is my job. This is what I'm here to do. But when it's talking about it being brought here for serving in this fashion, you get a sense that it is bored or not fully. This is not the type of servitude to the universe that it was created for. Not the being in front of you, but the hive mind entirely. This is like it's created for like helping the universe along. And so like being kind of demeaned to a servitor role, it's still what they do, so like naturally they're on board, but it is boring in comparison to the joys of like actually helping the universe move along. And so you're getting that sense of like almost like a slight apprehension as towards what it is doing versus what it could be doing.
I must confess a portion of awe in terms of your place in the wider cosmos. Would this is quite an ask, but would I be able to meet the the mother cradle?
There is the longest moment of actual silence that you face since again beginning communication with these beings. In every case, you ask a question and then immediately know the answer to that question, be that the items on the way, these thoughts about it existing in the universe. You just know that as if you knew it all along. But there's actually a moment of silence here. And in this moment of silence, it is still even. And then you get a little spike of interest, almost like you're interested at first, and then it kind of fizzles into this being is interested in this thought of you meeting the mother cradle. It states that, or it doesn't state anything. You know that it has enjoyed its meal. I imagine that this meal has lasted longer than 10 minutes. It's a back and forth of exchange of information. Even though you know the information right away, you still have to like process what that means. And it has enjoyed this time kind of sharing a little bit. It is intrigued, and you get a little inquisition into why. You feel the need to explain to this thing why that is. Whether you hold back on that opinion or whatever that is, you do feel that need to explain to it like why you would want to meet the mother cradle, what it can't provide that the mother cradle could.
I I respect all of the midnight bellhops and their skill and ability, but as the as a potential progenitor to a hive mind race of my own, I would I would feel that I personally would benefit from a meeting of the minds, if you would, to an elder hive mind, if only to pay homage, but perhaps even to receive guidance or even if the conditions were right to offer supplication or proposition.
My body.
I I believe that we could be of interest to each other, and given of interest to each other, perhaps even of use to each other. Plus, I have a very tasty dessert that I think that they would love to try.
Somewhere quietly, Slippy looks at the camera, and then we cut back to this conversation.
Ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba.
The thought cuts to the front of your mind of a partner race. And this is not a thought that you've brought forth. This is not something that you were like, this might have been something you were trying to keep down. In fact.
Oh no, are they also looking for partner races? This could be very bad for the universe generally.
This thought brought forth is your thought. It's a thought that you've been having this whole time, thinking about partner races. But it's drawn forth almost as if like opening a folder and pulling the info out, like you feel it being looked over. They don't get the details. You get a sense that it's not like in depth, like they know you've put eggs in dessert and are trying to turn them into your babies, but they get the sense of a thread of partner race. And this, you get the sense, is it's very intriguing to them, this thought that they've grasped at. But that they must mull this over. The mother cradle is everything to them. And it must be thought over. It must be mulled upon as to, if you are a danger, if you pose a threat immediately to that, and what that is. But I think what intrigues them most is the thought that they have, albeit infiltrated out of your mind, of partner race. But that is like a big hook for them, and they stand up and they tell you that there's you get a sense that they need to process a lot of this request. But that they are open to it.
I appreciate your time and your attention, and I want to make a lot of eye contact, hopefully in the notion that I'm communicating with the mother cradle, that like queen to queen, perhaps she knows that I'm speaking to her, that I might be yeah, exactly, that I might be, on a level that I might understand the loneliness at the top of being the mother of many, partner to none. I hope to hear more from you in future. You know how long I will be on planet, and I hope that we can further this dialogue before I have to take my leave, as my responsibilities dictate.
And I think with that they leave.
What if we end another campaign with taking over the world and turning it into a more peaceful place?
Like I said, I
We
don't
got
have
the
an end to
theme.
this campaign thought out, but if it's Cookie runs the universe, then I guess that's what we
Last
have.
time it
We
seemed like a
we
good
cut
option.
to Lucy. We cut to Lucy eavesdropping in the other room and just thinking to herself, "I didn't like that. I don't understand it, but I don't think I like that."
I, as a player, because I never. Here's the thing. Here are some player concerns. Though that tart, the egg tart, is now just there. I am, as a player, terrified of leaving Lucy alone in the same space as the egg tart. Cookie is not going to take it with her. That's not Cookie's prerogative. She is going to leave it in the kitchen. But who boy, just sort of having that around, fun
Hey,
notion.
Hey Lucy, make sure you microwave that tart to at least an internal temperature of 170 degrees.
Give it a
Make
Just
sure
good,
that's a warm tart.
cut it into very small pieces before you eat it.
Avoid the chunks.
Yeah, I also, since we don't have like a plot line end to the campaign, I also figured why not just start lobbing bombs. Let's throw some real nonsense in here. See what happens.
I'm certainly excited to see what happens indeed.
make it way spicier than I could have imagined. Carl, BBW, Slippy, with the end of that sort of event in tow, is there anything you folks want to do for the rest of this day? Yes.
All
It's
right,
like I said,
gang.
about evening time.
That would probably be the time that Mr. Blood would go to the pleasure showers, and that's one of the only places that we haven't gone to yet.
Or, hear me out. Is Mr. Blood more the fun and games type who would go to the heist towers?
Should we
Someone
split
named
up?
Mr. Blood seems like someone who likes to have a lot of fun.
Yes, it depends on what kind of fun he likes to have.
Yuck.
True.
We could go in the middle to the Among Us Tower.
Yeah, it's sort of up to the three of you. Which tower would you like to head to first? Oh, we
I'm for sure
didn't lose
down for
anyone.
checking out Pleasure Tower.
I
So
Seems
Pleasure
like
Tower.
somewhere where some stuff is most likely to potentially happen. As
I
much
feel
as
like
Heist Tower is
he's-
a cool concept.
I feel
I
like
don't think Mr. Blood's
Mr.
gonna get
Blood's
killed there.
probably a sexual being.
Yeah,
I don't know if he's spoken for. That probably would be in our
he probably is into blood play.
file, but I can't imagine that he is. Or even if he was, I don't think it would matter if you're stupid rich like that, especially in space.
rich.
How are you gonna catch me? She's on another planet.
Okay.
Mr. Blood would think. Yeah. So I guess we're gonna go to the pleasure towers.
Okay.
But
The three of
Is it?
you.
Is the interior of the Pleasure Tower actually shaped like an hourglass? Because that would be really cool and really difficult architecture.
Why not? The whole building is shaped like an hourglass, and in fact, from the outside, you can see like it looks like it was designed to, I don't know, look like
Look like
sand
an
pouring down an
hourglass.
hourglass. I don't. It's probably
The windows are filled with sand.
Yikes.
Reach
The
the
rooms.
creativity quota.
If you're in the bottom and you are at the start of the day, you have to get out by the end of the day, or you're dead.
Hey, just so you know, checkout time 10 o'clock sharp. Do not miss
Top
it.
rooms
Do not
only
miss
open
it.
during the night.
What? Gabe is muted.
No,
I
he
don't know
is.
what
He
he's
is.
saying.
I'm processing what he's saying, and then I'm
Oh,
gonna
okay.
repeat it back.
Understood.
I like this. I like this. I'm just trying to figure out. I don't know if I even have to. We can just. So I like this. Gabe has pitched an idea. So there is this hourglass shaped tower. It is a more of a frame here, and there are enough rooms in this building, albeit it's a huge building, but there's only enough rooms in this building to fill about half of the building, and that is because throughout the day they trickle from the top of the building to the bottom of the building. And I don't think that being inside you would really notice that they like slowly move. It's more of like a design aspect. At any point you can reach an elevator that'll take you to the ground floor, but like design aspect wise, if you were to sit and watch it all day, all of these rooms would slowly like shift down to the bottom of the hourglass structure.
It's like the Cube movie. It's like the movie Cube,
Love
except
that movie.
Yeah.
outside Cube.
Yes, just for a fun design. But as you approach everything, or as you enter, everything in here is like lush velvet and plushy and soft, and there's tons of seating areas. And an attendant approaches you. She is. I'm gonna go with actually the same race as Old Lady Weathers. We're talking like that the squid cephalopod versus octopus cephalopod. She has long, slender tentacles and a long, slender body, similar to Old Lady Weathers. And she approaches your group as you enter, and she says, "And how may I help you folks today?"
Hubbana. Hi, I am Slippy. I work for Mr. Blood. And we're just sort of checking out and making sure that the places that he might enjoy time at
Hmm.
during his upcoming trip are on the up and up and looking ship shape.
And Slippy, I love the name. If you folks will follow me right over here, let me see what I can pull up. And you folks follow her over to a computer, and she does a little bit of searching and says, it does seem that Mr. Blood likes to. Oh, I dropped a dice. Hold on.
Mr. Blood likes to drop dice.
It does seem that Mr. Blood likes to frequent our Tower of Pleasure here when he is
I knew it.
on planet. Is there anything I can answer for you
Hmm.
particularly?
Where
Slippy
is he
just sort
most
of
likely to
like
party?
looks back at the gang.
Or would you folks like to indulge in the Pleasure Tower yourselves?
Oh no, I can't. I am in a on again, off again relationship, unfortunately.
I'm not sure if I can feel pleasure.
Oh, good. Is this something we're about to explore? She says, from my
Um,
point of view.
well, I'm sure we'll be exploring something.
Oh boy.
Yeah, what would you folks like to do in the Pleasure Tower? I'll ask as the DM and not from her.
Slippy I think Slippy is going to explain the situation with the robot to this lady.
Hmm.
Slippy, yeah, so basically we've already sort of we've already come in contact with these automata a few times now. We found some conspicuously
Hmm.
placed cameras throughout the city. I'm lying now. We only found it on the racetrack, but you know, obviously you wouldn't expect here in the Pleasure Tower of all places to have
Mm-hmm.
those types of recording devices, but you know, we're just we would like to make a quick little look around if there's a room in particular that he frequents, or maybe we could just take a quick swing by the security room and make sure they're aware of the situation.
Parlay, and you've already set up the full parlay for me, so just roll it. Basically, why she would want to listen to you and
That is, I believe, parlay is what,
charisma.
charisma. Okay, that is a big 7, just
Woo!
barely.
While I understand the need for security, I Let me think.
I could wear a blindfold if you want. Actually,
I
no, I don't want to do that.
Is that not what we find pleasurable?
I can. You folks are on Mr. Blood's crew. I can bring you back to his private room, but unfortunately, I will not. I am not. I'm not authorized to show you to security. You would need to go
Could you at
through
least
several
pass
of the
the message
processes.
on for me?
To be on the lookout for voyeur automatons, I can certainly give the
Yeah,
lookout
something
to
like
them.
that.
Yeah, we generally try to
Great.
keep a lookout for voyeurs here as it is. And you
It
will
likes to
find
run a lot.
nary a recording devices in our room, I can assure you.
I'll be the judge of that, but I appreciate the sentiment.
And she takes you to. It is a long trip through the Pleasure Tower. It is one of course, the topmost rooms. It is the evening, so most of these rooms have shifted down to the bottom of the hourglass. So the elevator ride is quite a bit shorter as you make your way up to Mr. Blood's private room. But this private room is a little bit more explicit. Like from the moment you open the door, it is
Oh
there.
gosh.
It's like Pleasure Tower to its
Oh
highest,
boy.
and it's the size of his hotel room, and the pleasures range across the scale from pain to sensation pleasures to you see a cage in one corner, you see lashes on a wall, on a rack, and chains and whips, and there's probably even a hot tub and like a nice bed and a well-stocked kitchen in case they want to eat well-made foods. Like the pleasures range pretty vastly here, but there is no sort of blocks in terms of like as you open the door, you are exposed to all of it. Yes, what the three of you enter into the room and begin scoping the security of it out. I imagine.
Yeah,
I did
I
not
mean,
know this
at
is
this
what we were
point,
talking
Slippy's
about
gonna be
when we were
looking
talking
for a
about
camera
pleasure.
specifically.
Arl's walking along the walls, just knocking on them because he doesn't have a fucking stud
Okay.
fighter anymore.
Okay. I like that. And BBW. Well, so Carl's looking for secret passages in the walls. Slippy is camera checking. What are you up to?
Try to find any secret cameras or secret recording devices.
Okay.
I'll let BBW do the technology based bits. I will just do a bad feeling roll here.
Okay.
Trap.
Yeah, I like that. So BBW has his electromagnetic detection. Slippy has I've got a bad feeling. And Carl, why don't you give me you're welcome to call it discern realities if you would like those questions, or you can just give me like a defy danger.
Wisdom?
I'd say wisdom, yeah. If
Good.
you
My
don't want to ask those
intelligence is much
questions.
worse.
Yeah, I was
So
leaning
any
on
sort-
wisdom and I was like, but I don't know how his wisdom is, how he's gonna feel about that. And you're like, wisdom? And I was like, yes, wisdom.
Woo! That's a 6 marking experience. I'm
Leveled
almost level 4.
Leveled
Well,
boys.
would be.
Boys. BBW for electromagnetic detection, your roll plus intelligence.
I rolled in the chat, got like a 3 or something.
Okay. Perfect. And then
Should I
Slippy.
roll again?
No,
I
certainly not.
got a 12.
You got a 12. So all three questions.
Yes. Trap here. If so, what activates it? Oh God, I hope it's not a sex trap. I never heard the end of
I
it
mean,
from
yeah,
Clarissa, that
I think that
lecherous
it truly
lichen of a
is a sex trap, and that is that there's a specific table that you can see like gears and pulleys and shit under that you get a sense immediately upon seeing it that if you were to sit on this table, the table would
Explode.
sex you.
restrain sex you would restrain you
It will affect you. Oh.
would restrain you pretty forcibly. It is
Hey,
not a room trap though.
I've got a bad feeling about that, but I'm not gonna touch it. So I guess I know what it does when it activates.
I think so.
What else is in here? Give me some bonus info, DM. Give me some tantalating tidbits.
I think what else is hidden here is that you working along with Carl, who is looking for these rooms. I don't know that I have any hard moves to make because you folks are just sort of checking out a room at the moment, and I have been making hard moves throughout the session. I think working together with Carl, you find a hidden wall, leads to a very thin back hallway. And in this hallway, there is like paintings with an eyes cut out, like you can watch into the room, sort of like a voyeur hall. It's not like a hidden path out of the room. It's a
this
place
another
you can
sex
sit
thing that
and
I don't
watch people have
understand?
sex. Yeah. So it's just a hidden little. It is hidden, but the entrance and exit to it are the same door and in the room. So you would have to be in the room to enter
Okay.
the hidden hallway. But in case that, maybe that comes up mechanically, that's helpful. Now you have it. Yep.
The only that will come in handy if any of us want to watch Mr. Blood have sex. Great.
Maybe. But the three of you
Well, if I
are
want to do that,
peeking over this sex chamber, and the attendant asks, will you be requiring any attendance this evening?
Me? No, absolutely not. Carissa would be furious. I'd never hear the end of it. Or the beginning of it, hopefully. Anyway, not for me, thanks.
And the other two? Robot and Cephalopod? She looks you up and down. Carl.
Dick,
this is
Thick
kind of
cephalopod.
place people would have sex. So I'm a little concerned. So I'd rather not. Thank you.
Oh, okay.
BBW does not understand.
All the moisture might short you out. I'd be careful.
If no one is
Moisture.
interested in moisture, if no one is interested in attendance, that is more than fine. I can show you to the door.
Oh, there it is. Thank you.
I found it. Bye.
I gotta go.
Artistic mood.
Oh, awesome. Thank you. Didn't really want to explore that situation more than it was going to be, but here we
Actually,
are.
hold
Hold
on. I
on.
think I do
I
want
would
to
love
have
to be
sex,
attended.
please. Could
Bring
I
in
have
your most
one
sexual
sex,
employee.
please?
Anyway. As the three of you exit the pleasure tower, it is evening time, and you are exiting right at the time that the rooms have finished their dissension, and you are just seeing the first room start to shift back up into the top of the hourglass, and um you begin your trek back to the Peacock. Ye. Um
Yeah.
As the three of you trek back to the Peacock, the moon is rising over Opulence. Our camera scans back over to Cookie's chamber in the Peacock, having been, I imagine, maybe cleaning up from the meal. Say it's a couple hours later. What is Cookie up to in the room? Nothing huge. I'm like trying to do a story wrap up, but it's like, what is Cookie up to? As
What
we
is the
scan back
rock
a
cooking?
couple hours later.
I don't know, honestly. I think Cookie. I think. I don't know that the RP really got to the heart of how impactful, like, the implication of another Hive Queen was, and like the implication of potentially joining with another Hive Queen might be. So I think Cookie's sort of I think Cookie has plonked down on some portion of furniture in the communal space, in the space where she shared the meal with the bellhop. She didn't even think to retire to her own quarters. She just sort of sat down. Uh, I think I think she's just sort of sitting there considering the implications of this, and like, how cool would it be? What are the consequences? Like, all of the different sort of nuances of the idea. She's sort of overwhelmed. She got more information than she thought she was going to from this interaction, and so she's sort of just sitting and dwelling on it when everyone gets back. She has also, of course, cleaned up the kitchen.
As she is sitting and dwelling, waiting for the others to return and being sort of consumed with these thoughts, she's in for it, a full ride. There's a knock at the door.
In love?
He's gonna become super Cookie.
Right. Well, let's quick peep. Let's peep
I-
that door. Let's
I
get
am midnight
the
Cookie now.
the little peek thing that's on the hotel doors. The previewer.
And you slide the little metal disc to the side so you can see out of the peephole. And outside there are two midnight bellhops standing and waiting at attention. And I think the moment that you do look out, you get the sense that they would like you to follow. They want you to follow, and the only other sense is the mother cradle awaits.
Bwah.
Dun, 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 dun.
Okay. Cookie hopes that they can just sort of read her mind, and she sort of sends a mind message. It's like, give me 2 seconds, and she runs to the kitchen and grabs all of her ingredients because I don't know, maybe it's time to make a meal for the queen, um, or whatever. And she also grabs the egg tart because, like, maybe not.
They already have a meal.
Maybe I already have a meal, or maybe it's just a demonstration. Maybe the queen will want a demonstration, and she just feeds it to a bellhop, and we just see what happens. But best to have all these things because I don't know that I will get a second shot at this. She just throws all those ingredients and the tart and the wok into her bag, and I guess out she goes. And she looks at the bellhops and she's like, "I'm not used to seeing two of you. This must be important. Lead me where you will."
And one begins walking down the hallway, and the second gestures for Cookie to follow, and they sort of frame up on the front and the back of Cookie like they're guiding you down the hallway, like they're guiding someone important, and they take you to the elevator, and they step onto the elevator with you and hold the door. And if at any point I say something and you're like, "Nuh-uh," shake your head, and otherwise I'll just continue. That way I'm like, Cookie steps onto the elevator. If at any point you're like, "Cookie doesn't do that," that's fine. Okay. Cookie steps onto the elevator with him, and the door shuts behind them. They hit the first floor button, and the elevator goes down to the first floor. As it reaches the first floor, and pings like, "We've arrived at the first floor," they hit the door close button, and the doors do not open. And they wait a few moments, and the elevator stays and stalls, and the lights on the elevator actually shut out, and now it's pretty dark in here. And you hear the few, plastic presses of a few more buttons, and 3 lights light up on the elevator panel, and the elevator clicks again and begins lowering further. It does not have a basement button on this elevator, so I think this is news to while you might recognize there's probably a basement in this building, this elevator does not have that proof. And so Cookie is in for a ride as she is pulled beneath the first floor and into a basement. The elevator ride down is a little bit longer, I think, than even the elevator ride down from your room. It's a little bit slower. You can feel the elevator moving. It's a little bit more rocky. And the elevator stops at the bottom, and the doors open up, and it is pretty dark. It's into a pretty dark hallway. The only lights in this hallway are like red safety lights at the front and the back of this hallway, that sort of illuminate the whole thing, and they guide Cookie down the hallway and to a metal door. I'm a big fan of hallways off of elevators. They stop at the door, and you stop with them. Your thoughts, save your own thoughts of like what is happening and what is going on, are quiet in terms of their communication with you. You're not feeling like intrusive thoughts from them. You're feeling a little bit of silence since they've stepped onto the elevator, in fact. And there is almost an uncomfortable amount of time, and the door opens up and you are ushered inside. As you enter, this is a pretty deep, deep underground room. Some of the walls are still uncut stone, just cut off enough to make this room right, but not like polished out further than that. And the only thing other than that are like metal holds in the walls keeping certain parts up. But this room is pretty vast and cavernous. It isn't the ecology really of the room that speaks to Cookie, just sort of explaining it as what takes Cookie's attention the moment that this door opens is a slew of lights and colors hit her eyes, and she is taken aback, and it takes her a good moment for her eyes to adjust to what she sees in front of her. Suspended, almost expanding this whole cavernous room, you see I think that Cookie would only be able to describe it as a nebula, having been out in space, in like seeing like a whole cosmos from far away. You can see the stars swirling in towards the center, larger bodies of mass in there as you folks have flown across space. This is a tiny, comparatively, version of that, much larger than you, but it expands this room, and it sort of is like a cloud of moving lights and swirls of gas. And in this room with you, there are 10 or so of the Midnight Bellhops. They are unclothed in terms of the rest have had pressed suits on. Nice. They are just black humanoid figures, pure black, like the light just escapes. In fact, this room is dark, but you see them almost reverse. Whereas, like, if the room was lit, you would see a body. The room is dark, and you see more darkness where they're standing, so it's kind of easy to spot them in this room. But I think that that's where we're going to leave it for now as the door opens and Cookie is fronted with... Oh, yes?
I do think that's a good button ending scene, but I do think Cookie's going to do one thing.
Love it.
Cookie enters this room, sort of quickly takes in the bellhops and the way that everything is arranged, and walks to the edge of the area that the nebula is taking up, and Cookie comes from a culture of royalty, sort of. You know, there are queens, and so one would assume that there is a culture around that, and so Cookie bows in the way that one would when addressing someone that you don't know whether they are an equal or a superior, and sort of clicks her antenna together and then pushes them forward. And this is a gesture. It is an invitation to, in Cookie's culture, for like a meld, like a meeting of the minds, kind of in the insectoid culture, a no lies, full honesty dialogue.
And then you take your clothes off.
And I think that would be where I would end it. It's just sort of in the bow, in the invitation to have this dialogue.
I like that. I'm gonna take it
actually
another step.
Oh dang!
I like step
after step.
Cookie bends down and offers her antenna in a no holds barred, let's speak it out conversation. Underneath of you, you're looking down with your antennas out forward, and you see wisps of this cloud kind of wisp out underneath of you, and you feel it overtake your antenna, and your vision goes black for a brief moment, and then you open your eyes as if you had closed them, and you find yourself floating in the vastness of space. The only thing around you, the only real structure around you sits right in front of you, and it is this same floating nebula. But you feel less small in comparison to its size here, even though I think representatively it's much larger than it was in this room. You feel as if you're seeing it more as it is. And Cookie floats in this mind meld as we cut to black. I know that you might have been looking for a more direct conversation maybe with this, but they have taken your mind meld and turned it into a mind meld.
Yeah, we'll get to the conversation portion of it next session.
Oh yeah. Definitely. So we'll leave it there as the players have checked out the pleasure tower. Markets are done. A thread is pulled for robots at the fighting pits and the arena. And Cookie has mind melded with a mother cradle, and we will figure out how that conversation could possibly go next time
On Dragon Ball
on
Z.
Dragon Ball Z. After that conversation with Cookie, just so you guys know, we have one day, and Mr. Blood will be showing up at the end of that day. So we'll be doing, that'll be his night. The following day will
Can't
be
wait.
the actual event at the arena, and then you're headed back home. So we'll see
Boy.
what happens. But yes, it was. I'm gonna give my thing enough time, so because I'm on YouTube, there's always some latency. Good session.
Watch us accidentally kill Mr. Blood.
Yeah, right, right.
Watch us intentionally kill Mr. Blood. Take all of his
Yeah,
money.
maybe he's just an asshole.
Real quick, I have a couple questions I want to ask you folks, but I want to thank everyone else for coming out and joining for the live recording today. Hell yeah, much appreciated, folks. And I'm gonna click stop streaming in a moment once I'm sure the latency is caught up. But until then, I'm gonna start asking you guys questions. In probably about 15 seconds, I'll hit stop recording, just because there's some crazy latency on YouTube. Yeah, sort of session in. Oh wait. Oh no. I forgot about session in questions. We do. Those are important.
Yeah, we have to do those.
We have to do session
Vital.
in questions. Session in questions. The first of which is: did we uncover something new or important about the universe?
Fucking somebody did.
There's something out there.
Somebody's bumming them right now.
I'd say yes. I'd say yes. We uncovered something new
brain
or
bumming.
important about the universe. Did we get a treasure? An important treasure.
We
I got
commissioned a
Essential
treasure.
Steel.
Gabe did.
Yeah,
got a new
I
shield,
treasure.
I got
I
a new
sold one of
broken
our treasures in
magnet
order to
thing.
gain something. I don't know that it is a treasure, but maybe it is. It could be. I lean towards no. In the GM mind, I lean towards no.
Fair.
An argument could be made for yes, but I lean towards no.
I think I lead
Oh,
towards.
wait. What about the key you looted off that body?
I have a house now. I looted a whole home. I mean, based off of like, let's see, memorable treasure. Those words, I would say you did not get it this time, but I would say that a rare tech spear could fall into that. But you don't have the spear at the moment, so. Nah. Plus, you're trading. I agree. Like in a GM mind, like you got the experience for this treasure already. You've just traded the treasure in for a different treasure. So like, I don't know. We'll figure out exactly how that fits. But for this time, no. Did we overcome a notable monster or enemy?
No.
They were just
Yes. You came up
Yes.
against some notable being seen by
Some
3
thugs
different
in
people.
the-
You had a whole gang surrounding you.
You did talk your way out of a whole gang
Notable
interaction.
monster does, I guess, imply like a singular powerful entity
I mean,
rather
I'll
than
take an experience
3
point for
weak
it. I don't
entities.
care.
I feel like notable, I agree, is something that you would remember, and I don't think you folks will ever remember having fought these dudes in the alley ever
Other
again.
than by their shitty gun that I have in my backpack. now.
Right, that
I'll
you
never
throw at
forget
another
throwing a man off
enemy.
a roof.
I'm
So-
not gonna shoot it ever. I'm gonna throw it at somebody.
I think one total experience for everyone for all that. Any bonds to be?
Yeah, I did. I'm gonna solve my one with BBW because at this point, BBW and I have gotten out of some scrapes together, so I know I can trust BBW when things
True,
go
true.
bad.
That's a fact. That's a fact. All right, cool. You can mark one experience for that, Slippy. Anyone else have a bond? BBW, I know at the end of last session you had a bond that you did shore up, and it now is something with Slippy.
Yeah, I didn't figure it out
Okay.
yet. I completely forgot about
That's
it.
fine. I was just looking at your sheet while I was talking, and then I realized it says
Mhm.
something with Slippy. So by next time, before we start next time in like sort of session starter, we'll talk about
Mhm.
that in case you don't remember it until then. But we'll just come up with another bond, probably with Slippy. Again, I don't remember what the old one was, but I can go back and listen to it, and I'll know what the old one was, and so what we're changing it
Alright.
from. So that might help us. Arl or Cookie?
The only person even on this planet that I have a bond with is Slippy, and he hasn't fucked up yet in any significant way. So,
Which is what your bond is hoping for, right? Because then when we finish, you're
it's not hoping for. It's mostly that basically previously I didn't trust Slippy, and now my new goal has been, all right, I'm gonna trust Slippy unconditionally until proven wrong. And
Yeah.
so thus far,
I
it's
mean, I
gone
think
fine.
if we get through a full mission like this and Slippy has proven himself right, I think you
Yeah.
could probably, just like complete the bond. Now we don't even it's not even a question that you trust Slippy, you just do.
Honestly,
I-
unlike his personal life, Slippy seems to be doing great as his job right now.
Marissa would be proud if she was
Maybe.
capable of it.
Ugh, maybe.
I just had a second look at my bonds, and it turns out that I have a bond with the Midnight Bellhops.
Oh my god.
The Midnight Bellhops appear to be the perfect pair/prey race. I need to find out everything I can about their culture and who is in control of them. Can they eat?
Dude,
And I
definitely
think I
good.
have 100%ed that bond.
I'd say so.
I can't
All the
argue with
questions
that.
answered.
Okay, so I've got to figure out a new bond by next episode.
I must sex the Midnight Bellhop.
I mean, because this conversation is still going on, that could include the Midnight Bellhop and now like what you want from this situation, or it could be something new with someone new. But yes, that's fun. So Slippy and Cookie have bonds or experience for bonds. So you two get 2 total experience from session questions.
Yeah.
BBW, Carl, you get 1 total experience. BBW, make sure that again you think about a new bond with Slippy. We'll go over exactly what that is for next time. Lastly, something we've been forgetting, but Gabe brought it up to me that I keep forgetting to do, is all of our alignments. We've never actually looked at alignments. This is another session end. Did we do it or not? And everyone's is different. So like I have Slippy's sheet up for right now. His is alignment neutral, avoid detection, or infiltrate a location. I don't necessarily know that Slippy did either of those, but
Not this second. I just shot a guy.
right. But everyone's got an alignment up top. If you've done that thing, then you also get an experience. It doesn't change, but just once per session, if you do it, you can mark an experience. So did anyone do their alignment? And also if you go, sorry, one more bit on that. If your alignment is like good and you do a bad thing, your alignment will change. And so whatever triggers that alignment will change.
I'm gonna take an experience.
Okay. Then I have sort of 2 questions, sort of in that vein. First of all, my alignment is feed those in need, or that's my trigger.
You explicitly
I
said
fed-
someone not.
Well, here's the thing: is that like they didn't need sustenance, but it's possible, sort of, that existentially they were
They
in
needed
need.
companionship.
And that's sort of why I'm now having this melding of the minds with the queen, is that they were actually in need and I fed them. So like there's an argument there. Either way is fine. Like it's not a strong argument either way, but I see a line that could be drawn there. The other question is my alignment currently is good. And I don't know if that's a vibe.
Debatable.
That's
It depends on your culture's version of good.
I think I'm my culture's version of good, but if we want to sort of evaluate it by like existential
common
standards,
culture?
then it would be neutral, or by Delta Dawn standards, it would be evil.
We
You
should.
did take out their ambassador.
I mean, I think maybe we could attempt to avoid just a blanket universal morality, especially when we're coming across all these different races of aliens. And like, I've been thinking kind of along those lines a lot, is that like the things that Cookie are doing are evil if I'm thinking about a human, but everyone on Cookie's planet would think that she's doing exactly what she should be doing and doing it well. So I think that where you come from, you are good. That makes sense to me. You're doing the thing that you're supposed to be doing for your race entirely. So maybe we could frame that per person. I'm more than open to, because I'm not a huge fan of like a blanket alignment morality kind of situation.
Then I'll stick with the good alignment, which just leaves the existential question: did I feed those in need?
I don't know that they were in need. There was a moment in which, in this campaign, not that you should mark experience for it now because we'd have to try to do this for all people, but in which you did feed a group that was in need. I even think I remember the way that you said it, you're like, it's time for me to feed a group in need. I think you had like literally just read over the alignment at that moment, and then you made a meal for the miners, and then we partied with the miners, and then totally forgot that that was an alignment thing. But I don't think in this case they were like in need. You had to convince them to come to a meal with you, and then they came to a meal with you. But yes,
That seems attractive to me.
I think that that was a good point to bring up anyway, because now we're talking about like non-blanketed morality across our universe. So several times, everyone's gonna get a massive power spike.
This is very true.
Carl, what's your alignment?
Good. Defend those weaker than you, which didn't really get around to this time. Mostly just defended myself by stabbing.
Yeah,
them
if
in
they
the
had
foot.
attacked Cookie first, then you could have done it. Although I
Well,
don't
and
know
I
that.
tried to use his screams to distract, but that didn't really come to fruition. So
Oh, you did, yeah. Okay, that's a
they
good way to go
handled
about it too.
themselves.
Yeah, yeah. I like that. Okay. And then Big Bud Wally says use machines to help others with no expectation of reward. I'm gonna put those help others probably as people off of your team, because it just makes
behooves
sense to help a
ourselves
friend.
to help
Yeah,
our teammates.
yeah, it just makes sense to help a friend rather than, I don't know. I think that feels more what that's directed towards anyway. Yes. Okay. So
Follow-up question to that. If we're excluding people on our team, does Lucy count? Is Lucy a part of our team or not by
No way. She's not
by
a part
those
of the Gorgons.
standards?
I would
She's on our
say,
ship.
yeah, I mean, I would say that she's not a part of the team overall, because once you guys go back, like Lucy is off of the team if she survives that long. If anything goes wrong or whatever, you know.
Oh
But if she,
no.
oh no,
Dark.
if she makes it back, like she's not like on the team, she's a temporary member. So yes, I would say like if you defend those, I guess yours is defend those weaker than you, so that could just be anyone. But like BBW's is help others with no idea in mind or whatever about a reward. I think that could count, because like she's a temporary NPC. She's not, she may come around again on the station since we've
y'all.
introduced her, but she's overall temporary. Sweet. So let me think. Yes. Give it a few seconds.
Super good.
Thanks for joining today, y'all. Here we go. Ending stream. Stop